medical examiner called in breaking news to the home of Rex Heuermann, suspected and arrested, incarcerated, Gilgo Beach serial killer. What's going on? That and more coming up right now on Regina and Friends Crime Chat. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Regina and Friends Crime Chat. I'm one of your hosts, Regina, and today here with us we have the lovely What is True, aka Chris. Shout out to you. How you doing?
I am well, thank you. How are you today?
I am doing wonderful. It is a blessed day, and hello everyone in chat. Welcome and blessings. We got Liz W, Low 12, Midwest, Kel, Nightbot, always the trusted Nightbot. You guys, welcome and thank you for being here. If you guys wouldn't mind, if you're already in here, hitting that like and subscribe to help us get us in the algorithm, I would greatly appreciate it. And we're glad that you're here. So
Regina,
Crystal, have you heard? Yes.
you're
Can you
echoing
hear
a
me?
little bit. You're like doing the robotic thing, just letting you know. I don't know what's up with
Oh,
it, but
let me.
you
I
weren't
might
doing it,
need
and
some
then you.
juice in my headphones. Let me see here real quick. See if I can fix it. See if I can fix it. 1 second, you guys. Technical difficulties. All right. Is that better, Crystal? Oh, hold on. My hair's in it. One of
Say
the
something.
downfalls of having a really long hair, it gets caught in everything. Everything.
Yeah, you're better. You're better.
Yes. Okay. So we're fixing to discuss what's going on at Gilgo Beach. Good afternoon. Yes. Welcome. Get some of these comments in here real quick. Exactly, Liz W. And that's something we're fixing to go over. That's something we're fixing to go over. Medical examiners and why they're called to a scene. This is going to be mind blowing. Did they find human remains in Rex Heuermann's backyard? Yes. Now we're gonna go over some of these news releases real quick. Um, because this is breaking news. We're gonna go over some of these news releases. And hopefully, my mods, we're still waiting on the press conference link. There's supposed to be a press conference about this today, about the search warrant. And we know that Rex's wife and his son left last night, bags in tow. So they knew what was coming, I do believe, for today in this case. Um, and we're gonna have some live call-ins and stuff and see what you guys think after we cover these articles and discuss it a little bit. So right. Crystal, was there anything you wanted to add before we start in on these news
Nope. Let's
releases?
let's dig into this.
Okay. All righty, let's do it.
So what we're seeing right now, as you can see, the crime scene trucks are here and 2 tents have been put up in front of Rex Heuermann's home. Those
Why is it gonna lag on me?
tents were put up just a short while ago, and then they were.
Oh, this is
So what we're seeing right now, as you can see,
is it just me or is
the
that
crime
double what it's
scene
doing in the
trucks
video?
are here and 2 tents have been put up in front of Rex Heuermann's home.
Okay, it's doing it in the same spot, so maybe it's
Those
the
tents
new.
were put up just a short while ago, and then they were closed off so that we cannot see what is happening.
Okay, real quick, before we go any further, and this is now it's gonna act all goofy. If y'all seen, let me see if I can go back. This is, I don't know why.
So what we're seeing right now, as you can see, the
Oh my goodness.
crime scene trucks are here, and two.
Okay, look at these tents
Buffer.
real quick. Look at these tents real quick. This is something I want to point out. Do you notice how one of them is open air and one of them is closed off? What did they find in the yard? What are they concealing under that tent as opposed to the open air tent? They're hiding what they're doing right there. Now, if they were just bringing evidence out of the house and examining it in a tent of itself, why would they have an open air tent? Why would they have an open air tent and a tent that is completely blocked off that you can't see inside? Now, the tent is open on the side of the tent facing the home, as you'll see from we have footage from the helicopters going over and a drone here in just a second. But this leads me to believe, especially since the medical examiner has been called in, that they may have found human remains in Rex Heuermann's front yard. Okay, but let's finish watching this real quick.
2 tents have been put up in front of Rex Heuermann's
Quit buffering. It shouldn't be buffering.
home. Those tents were put up just a short while ago, and
Come on. Come on, quit buffering.
then they were closed
Lord's
off
so loud.
so that we cannot see.
It's probably not
Come on.
even you that's buffering. It's them. I find that a lot of times that's what happens.
What is happening underneath those tents inside of Rex
Yeah, it seems like it's
Heuermann's home? Now, living in this home since Rex Heuermann's
Because remember the last time it wasn't you, it was the video itself that did it.
arrest in July is his wife and 2 children.
well, not only that, but if it's got a lot of high traffic on the
We're
server,
also learning
it'll
this
do this too.
afternoon that his wife and son
Come on.
are in
Come on.
South Carolina right now. They were not alerted
When this happens, I feel
to
like
the
it's like
search that was going to happen today, according to sources.
riding a bike. Pedal, pedal. You can get through it. Oh my goodness.
But his adult daughter was inside of the home this
See how they got that tent closed off?
morning. Now, we do not know how that situation unfolded when police arrived
Come on.
this morning. But what I can tell you was we were here very early, right when state police started to get here, essentially. And what we saw is one after another, the scene getting larger and larger, those command centers coming down the block getting closed off. And now there is a massive scene down here with a lot of media, a lot of neighbors coming out, people wondering what is going on. Now, as you'll remember, this Massapequa Park home was searched in July. That search lasted for just about 2 weeks, and that was 10 months ago. Now, again, the home is being searched. This small red home is where Rex Heuermann grew up for his entire life. Heuermann, as News 12 has reported, is being charged with the deaths of 4 of the Gilgo Beach victims. That is Maureen Brainerd Barnes, Megan Waterman, Amber Costello, and Melissa Bartholomew. Now, again, he has been under arrest and has not been back at the home since his arrest on July 13th. However, the family has continued to live in this home.
And Krista, if you can still hear me out there, understanding that this is still new, developing throughout this afternoon, any indications on what exactly they may be looking for, what exactly this search execution may be connected to?
So we don't know exactly what they are looking for. We did hear from the district attorney a little bit earlier. If you can pull up what the district attorney said, they released a statement saying that the work of the Gilgo Beach Task Force is continuing, and they do not comment on investigative steps as they are ongoing. But I can tell you what we see here. We see people going in and out of the home. Investigators, we've also seen people go into the backyard. As you'll remember, that backyard was thoroughly searched and dug up many months ago. And again, the command centers are here for state police and Suffolk County Police, and the tents have been closed off to the press, so we cannot see what is happening underneath those tents, but we have seen many people going in and out of this Massapequa Park home.
And they're obviously established there today. Any indication as to how long this could last? Are we talking days here, a couple more hours? Any indication?
So there's no indication at this point of how long that this search is going to continue. I can tell we have seen and spoken to some people this morning, some understanding that they have to continue this investigation, especially in lieu of just the 4 girls and the ongoing investigation to the other Gilgo Beach murders. But others frustrated because, again, as you can understand, their block is now closed off. There's a lot of media down here, and it just resurrects something that they went through last summer. It's almost like the same thing happening over again.
Kristen McNally, thank you so much for that report. And let's stay with that right now. Continue.
Okay, now what we do know, you guys, the last time they did a search on his house, the medical examiner was called into. However, they didn't have the tents and stuff up in the yard like they do now the last time. So I'm going to read this article real quick, and then we're going to move on to the next one. It says, Heuermann has been charged with murder in the killing of 4 women found buried along the remote beach parkway. State police are in Massapequa, I can't pronounce that, Massapequa Park at the home of suspected Gilgo Beach killer Rex Heuermann. Sources confirmed to News 12 that the home is being searched. It is not clear what police are looking for. Sources also tell News 12 that family members of Rex Heuermann, including his wife, Asa Ellerup, and their son, were not in the home at the time of the search, according to the sources. They were in South Carolina. Let me just watch that one. However, News 12 has learned that his daughter was inside the home at the time the police arrived. In a statement, the Suffolk County.
Is it Suffolk?
There's Suffolk. I don't know. I feel dirty pronouncing that word. District Attorney's Office said the District Attorney Tyranny has previously stated the work of the Gilgo Beach Homicide Task Force is continuing. We do not comment on investigative steps while ongoing. And we have another video. And this is the Chopper 12 feed. So we're going to watch it real quick. See if we can get this to play.
On a positive note, celebrates all those good people, good stories,
I love how they make you watch.
and real life goodness.
Oh, look at them puppies. I love animals.
You gotta go Prime because then you don't get the commercials. I'm just saying, like, I have Prime for my YouTube just because I can't stand all the commercials.
Okay. Where's the sound? I know I just, oh, there it is. There we go. And it's going to do.
Joining us now is adjunct professor at John Jay College of Criminal Justice, Michael Alcazar. Michael, thank you for joining us on such. Joining us now is adjunct professor at John Jay College of Criminal Justice, Michael Alcazar. Michael, thank you for joining us on such short notice here. The fact that police are back at the home of Rex Heuermann, what does it tell you?
It tells me that, and this is just speculation, something in the search in Manorville probably yielded more evidence that triggered another reason for probable cause to draw this search warrant. So they go back to the house. Perhaps they missed something. It's kind of confusing to me because I thought they did a pretty thorough execution of the search warrant. So I'm just curious, like everybody else, what did they find recently in that recent search in the park, perhaps, that triggered this other search warrant to go back into the house? And things that would concern me is that evidence may have been disturbed because Heuermann's family has been allowed to go back to the house, and there's going to be a lot of contamination now. So it's going to be very interesting to see what are they looking for, what are they going to be able to recover, and what kind of evidence will help perhaps prosecute Heuermann.
And in your experience, is it fair to say this would likely be a very pointed search, and something has come up here that is leading them to search for one or a few particular items or pieces of evidence?
Yes, definitely. They found something specific that they're looking for, and it might be tracked or back to the house, related to the house. So yeah, something specific, something they found recently in that massive search that they're going back to revisit the house. This is why it's so important that, like in contrast to the case in Idaho where they destroyed the house, that's very telling why it's so important to preserve a crime scene while the court case is going on. And luckily, that's not the case here with Heuermann's house. Hopefully, they can go back, execute the search, and find whatever evidence, DNA evidence that they're looking for that can help prosecute in this case.
And it's pure speculation here on our parts, but do you think it's tied to the 4 cases he's already charged with, the 4 murder charges, 4 women? Or do you think this could be a broadening of the investigation to some of the other Gilgo Beach victims?
Yeah, perhaps they found more evidence linking it to the Gilgo 4, or like you said, they might have expanded. Who knows what they recovered at Manorville? They might be linking them to other missing bodies. So it's good work on Suffolk and the district attorney's office. They're executing this to the best of their ability. They're keeping their cards close to their vest, but I think time will tell, and it will be revealed what information they have gathered to help, again, to prosecute Heuermann in this case.
If you're joining us right now, you are looking at Chopper 12 over the scene of Rex Heuermann's Massapequa Park home, where there is a large police presence right now that includes state police as well as Suffolk County Police. We do have our Krista McNally at the scene there working to gather information, and Michael Alcazar from John Jay College of Criminal Justice has been good enough to join us and share his insight. Michael, you mentioned earlier about the fact that now they have to go back in there, but the Heuermann family, the wife and the estranged wife and the 2 adult children, have been living in that home ever since the initial search warrant was executed. Are you concerned from a gathering information standpoint that whatever detectives are looking for may have been disturbed?
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely contamination because they lived there, for months now after the initial execution of search warrant, unless, and again, this is just speculation, unless they're looking into somebody else into that household. That's also a possibility. So there's also a possibility they're looking for other DNA that they might evidence that might have been recovered at Manorville that might be in that house. So again, this is just all speculation.
All right, Michael Alcazar.
Okay. Brooke, thank you so much for being here, and I greatly appreciate that. I really do. I love hearing all of your opinions and what y'all have to say too. I appreciate each and every one of you. And I appreciate you being here. You guys are amazing. Thank you. So yes, Liz, spooky, all of it's spooky. We have another news article real quick. I'm going to share with you guys. Oh, baby, that door is so loud. Please quit hitting it. Because, let me see, which one was that? Okay, I believe this is the one. Yes, this is the one I want to share real quick. There's a lot more going on here because you don't call a medical examiner, and I'm going to get to that here in just a minute. of the role of a medical examiner. A medical examiner is part of a forensic team, is part of the forensic team called in. Typically, whenever investigators find something they deem to be um, some kind of human remains, whether it's blood or sadly, someone's bones or part of them, or if the medical examiner is called in to look at and examine something they think that was used in ending someone's life. So let's go straight to this one. And it says medical examiner arrives at Gilgo Beach. Suspect's house as search warrant continues. Rex Heuermann charged with the deaths of 4 women found along Gilgo Beach. All 4 women were S workers who went missing. A previous search of the home turned up a huge list of items.
Major deal in this case, and this follows a very significant search of Manorville in the woods that happened just last month. Now, the Manorville searches are said to be tied to 2 of the Long Island serial killer victims, Valerie Mack and Jessica Taylor. Could that have something to do with what we're seeing here now? Of course, we have to wait for the DA to tell us what's going on, but we are here with our cameras watching every bit of it, waiting to see exactly what they're taking out.
Dog.
And I saw them take out a hand truck, a dolly, out of one of their vans and go into the house. What does that mean? What's so heavy that they need that? So that's also something that we're watching for. We've heard long ago that there were, some kind of vaults that were inside of the home. I'm not sure if they found more, if they need to take out the original, but certainly a very big deal as we watch so many members of law enforcement descend upon this massive Piqua Park neighborhood and spend the afternoon here with their mobile command units. There are 2 of them. That is how big of a deal this is right now.
This is Edgar.
Hi, I'm Edgar.
He lives on an island, likes walking his dog, and is
Forgot my mute button. Sorry about that. It says News Nation. Police served a search warrant Monday at the home of Rex Heuermann, the suspect in the deaths of 4 women whose bodies were found along Gilgo Beach. News Nation has confirmed. No family members were present at Heuermann's estranged wife, Asa Ellerup, confirmed that the home had been searched. It isn't clear what prompted police to search the home or what specific information they were seeking. The medical examiner arrived at the home later in the morning, and News Nation's Laura Engel saw very large evidence bags being carried out of the home. Last month, authorities conducted a multi-day search in the woods of Manorville, New York, though it is not clear if this second search is connected. And then we have images. That's his wife. Also, interesting fact. Asa's hair, his wife's hair, was found in duct tape of one of the victims. What is originally was evidence that originally linked Rex Heuermann to the 4 women at Gilgo Beach, and I don't remember which one, but I do know that her hair was found. Heuermann is currently awaiting trial, facing murder charges in the deaths of 4 women known as the Gilgo 4, whose bodies were all found along Gilgo Beach in Long Island, New York. Investigators previously searched the Heuermann home after he was arrested and charged with the deaths of Amber Lynn Costello, Megan Waterman, and Melissa Barthélemy. He was later charged with the death of Maureen Bernard Barnes. All 4 women were night workers, S workers, and their bodies, along with several others, were found along Gilgo Beach in 2010 and 2011. At this time, Rex Heuermann has not been linked to any other of the deaths. In the initial search of Rex Heuermann's home in the summer of 2023, found what they described as a huge list of items, including more than 200 weapons. They also searched the backyard of the home as well, and Heuermann's family claimed investigators left the home in chaos. Ellerup filed for divorce after Heuermann's arrest. Her DNA was among the evidence used to eventually arrest Heuermann, as police used familial DNA to identify a suspect. Okay, so there's that one. Let me close that one out since we're done with it. And here we go. Let me see if, no, we're not going to be able to get that one in place, so I'll just leave it. Here's what I wanted to point out for everyone. I have pulled up Science Direct. It's a trusted it's a trusted source in science. And I want to read to you guys because this is big that they've called the medical examiner to his home. Okay, to his home, and they've got that tent up in the front yard that is completely blocked off. And then there's a processing tent right beside it, as y'all can see, that's open air. It says conceptual framework used by USC Institute of Psychiatric Law and Science and Behavioral Science. Medical examiner, coroner's office, usually do not use psychological autopsies to assist in making SC and accidental manner of death determinations. There is usually enough physical evidence or psychology history obtained from law enforcement, coroner investigators, toxicologists, and pathologists that the ME does not need input from mental health professionals. Whenever the ME makes a determination of a manner of death without mental health collaborated through a psychological autopsy, assumptions are made about the descendant's intent. A psychological autopsy will elicit material contrary to the assumptions. Psychological autopsy. Assumptions are made about the descendant's intent. A psychological autopsy may elicit materials contrary to the assumption of the MEC example if the self-inflicted gunshot wound. Okay, there's that. But here's the part I wanted to get to because that has no bearing. But this does. A medical examiner, ME, is a medical doctor who is responsible for examining bodies post-mortem to determine the cause of death and manner of death, and the circumstances surrounding the death of an individual. Manner of death is one of 5 categories listed on the death certificate: homicide, suicide, natural, accidental, and undetermined. Undetermined is used when the manner of death cannot be determined or a distinction between 2 categories cannot be made. MEs are pathologists, physicians trained in the medical specialty of pathology, the branch of medicine that deals with the diagnosis of disease and cause of death through laboratory examination. MEs and their staff are often called death investigators. Death investigators will perform investigations at the scene of death, work to identify the deceased, and may identify and collect evidence at the crime scene. The ME will locate and view the body, check for pulse, respiration, and reflexes as appropriate. Then identify and document the individual who made the official determination of death, include the date, time, and location of determination. Once death has been determined, rescue, resuscitative efforts cease, and medicological jurisdiction can be established. It is vital that this occur prior to the ME coroners assuming any responsibilities. National Institute of Justice. Most MEs work in urban areas. ME and a coroner are often interchanged. However, they are 2 distinctly different professions. MEs and coroners have different training and different job responsibilities. As of 2004, latest figures available, 16 states had centralized statewide ME system. 14 states had a county coroner system, 7 had a county ME system, and 13 had mixed county ME and coroner system. Death Investigation Systems, United States of America. The Medical Examiner's Death Investigation System. and this gives the background of the medical examiner. But as you can see, medical examiners are called in whenever there is suspicion of a body or suspicion of evidence pointing to there being human remains, to identify human remains and to determine a cause of death. Both medical examiner and coroners are responsible for investigating suspicious deaths, identifying bodies, notifying next of kin, and signing the death certificate. The qualifications they have and the medical. Okay, let's try that again. Metallurgical systems in which they work, however, can be quite different. A medical examiner is a physician, usually certified in forensic pathology, who is appointed to their position and performs autopsies. A coroner is an elected official who typically has little to no medical training. Different jurisdictions at the state or county level in the United States may operate under a medical examiner or coroner system or some other medical. Why am I having trouble with that word? Medicology.
I would help you if I could see it, but my eyes are.
Medicological system. Some jurisdictions require coroners to be pathologists, often with the further now I'm having more trouble with all my words. Often with a further specialty in forensics pathology, but others do not. In such cases, remains may need to be sent to a medical examiner or forensic pathologist if an autopsy is required. Although sometimes contentious, many authorities advocate the medical examiner system over the coroner system or support nationalizing the medical examiner system in the United States. It is advisable for forensic anthropologists to be cognizant of the metallurgical system and metallurgical authority in which they practice. The medical examiner, pathologist, coroner role at the crime scene will vary by jurisdiction. Do you hear that? At the crime scene. So they have obviously called a medical examiner in because they believe they have a crime scene on their hands. And with that tent that's completely blocked off, you guys, I'm not saying it to be a fact, but I'm telling you they have either found evidence of a crime or they have located a deceased human being. They have located remains. Now, they might call the medical examiner in if they don't know if it's an animal or a human, but that's quickly identified. And if they would have identified remains as an animal now, I highly doubt they would still be having that tent up and stuff. They would have, you know what I'm saying? And I'm curious, did they get a tip from a neighbor or a family member, or is Rex talking to try to get a plea deal? Is that why they've gone with a new search warrant to his home after they have already extensively searched his home and the backyard? But notice what wasn't in that report. They didn't search the front yard for human remains. They didn't search the front yard for evidence. Now they're back and they got two tents up in the front yard and it looks like they're processing something in one tent and the other one's completely blocked off. I have a very sneaky suspicion they have found something huge in Rex Heuermann's yard. The medical examiner, pathologist, coroner role at a crime scene will vary by jurisdiction. Some states and counties are part of the coroner system. The coroner may or may not have a medical background and may have a staff that includes pathologists or may contract out the work. It is important to be familiar with the system responsible for a crime scene. In some jurisdictions, a pathologist will respond to the scene. In some jurisdictions, the medical examiner's office will send one of its investigators. And in some jurisdictions, there is no response to the scene. The important point to remember is that all these scenarios is that the deceased is the responsibility of those medical examiner, pathologist, coroner jurisdiction, and that the remains should not be touched without their approval. Regardless of the system is in place, the medical examiner, pathologist, coroner is responsible for the post mortem examination. Wow. The medical examiner and coroner systems exist in the United The medical examiner and coroner systems exist in the United States for metallurgical investigation of sudden, suspicious, and unnatural deaths. And then it tells you about England and Wales and then the authority, but we're talking about the US. So we're not going to go on with the rest of that one. Medical examiners and coroners are responsible for investigation of all instances of human death by homicide, suicide, accident, injury, hazardous substance, or during custody, or if unattended by a physician, or if otherwise sudden or suspicious. Since such circumstances encompass the full range of human behavior and biology, broad expertise is necessary to unravel the facts of death. So, right there in that one sentence, as you guys can see, there is either a body, a hazardous substance left behind by a human body, or something pertaining to biological remains, is why the medical examiner has been called. Something that they need investigated that leads to human remains, to see if it's human remains or to identify human remains and determine the cause of death. One of these things has been located or suspected of being located at Rex Heuermann's property in order for them to obtain a search warrant. But the fact that they have called a medical examiner in, that tells me they found something directly, or they suspect they have found something directly linked to human remains. What do you think?
Are you talking to me?
Yep.
I I think that if I had to take a wild guess, I think it's probably, I think he's a prolific serial killer. I feel like we're gonna learn so much more. I mean, he had three different locations: Las Vegas, what was it, North Carolina or South Carolina, New York, and um, I'm just wondering if it's like trophies, could be body parts. I mean, if he took something from all of them and they were able to connect it, like let's say a big toe is missing for whatever
Hmm.
reason,
Hmm.
and their IDs or their hair, or they're going to hold that back. They're not going to tell the general public. So they could have
Exactly.
found his treasure trove of trophies and special items. Think about it. He could stand on his porch and look at that spot and fantasize all the time when he couldn't do something. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Absolutely. I absolutely know what you mean. Um, this is big. I know that they had called in the medical examiner before on this case. Um, I don't know if they did find anything, but I know there was just a mass search area less than a month ago, wasn't it? Less than a month ago, they had a new mass search area.
Yeah, I believe that was in the. Didn't they go to the Amityville storage again? And then there was someplace else that they
Hmm.
researched. So I really believe he's got a lot more victims than we know about. A lot. I think he's been at this a long time, and he almost thought that he perfected his game. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Who's to say he put them all there? That's what I mean. He could have had all kinds of dump sites or whatever and mixed it up. Maybe took a toe for some of them, or like say he took the left big toe of all the blondes and
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we get it. We get it, Crystal. We get it. Um, it's disturbing to think, to say the least. But they could also be investigating. Let's say he had a safe, right? And the medical examiner has determined, like there's rumors going on that they dug something up a safe, or they found a safe or something on his property. Let's say that the medical examiner that did the examinations of the deceased women suspects a certain weapon or something was used, correct? If they have a safe, or if they have a box or some kind of box they found, if there are things in that chest, safe, whatever you want to call it, then they would call the medical examiner in also to identify if anything found in the safe could have been a weapon used to end one of the women's lives. That is a possibility.
didn't he also wrap them in the hunting stuff? It was something camouflage.
Yes.
There
Yes,
were
they wrote that he wrapped them in camo plastic. Like camo. Okay, I know this is being a hunter, but you can go buy these rolls. It looks camouflaged, and it's like a fabricy nylon, and you use it for making duck blinds and stuff like that for yourself, or for putting um a tree stand up. You'd make a, little blind. They're called blinds, hunting blinds. You would use it to make a hunting blind to, conceal yourself even further up in a tree or something if you were looking to hunt. And that's what the women were found in. Here's the part that kind of gets to me. What role exactly did Asa play? I know that they're saying that they were swingers and all of this, but does it implicate her for her direct DNA to be found in duct tape, and her hair to be found in duct tape to the victims? Or would you suspect that it was just transfer materials? What do you think?
I think that she could possibly be involved. There is that possibility. But I also think that with hair, it is so easily transferred. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I could rub up against you and you standing next to me, and you could get a dog hair or a cat hair. It's just that's a tricky slope, I think. Like, I think they would need more on her than just a piece of hair, in my opinion. I could be wrong.
Liz, yes, teeth. That, yep, yep, that could be, something they found. They could have found teeth. As disturbing as that is, I mean, they could have found anything at this point, but I do know that they only call the medical examiner in when they suspect that there is a human remains of some sort, or evidence linked to the death of a person of some sort, that have to be tested and examined. They don't just call a medical examiner in for um pictures hanging on the wall. They don't just call a medical examiner in, to identify a couch as a couch.
Well, he could
This
also. Oops, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Do you think it's possible that maybe there's journals that he's kept throughout the years also that could be part of that, detailing the things that he's done? And
Brooke, I'm sorry. Hold on a second. I gotta read her comment. Crystal, you see what you got going on? You got read Brooke's comment. I'm sorry.
I
This is
can't
not
read it.
funny. This is serious. Okay, I'll read it to you. It says, I'm picturing some big fool walking around with a pocket full of toes.
Well, I'm just saying, anything's possible. They hold back so much. But, I mean, okay, I have a question for you, Regina. Do you think if they did get a tip, do you think it came from Rex? Or do you think that he's going to deny anything and everything until they have him dead to rights?
I think there is a legitimate and specific reason his wife and son left the property with bag in tow last night. And I'm going to leave it at that because that's my speculation.
Did you hear what you said? Bag in tow?
Oh my goodness, Crystal, you know what
I'm,
I mean. You
I'm
know what I
just
mean.
saying that's funny. I mean, you know, we gotta. I I don't know. But why would the daughter stay there? Why would she stay there? I mean, I don't know how old she is, but I know that she's, I think, 20 something. But if the family knew he was coming, why would she stay? Did the mom not tell her that they were coming? Or did she say,
Well, we
okay,
have
I'll.
conflicting articles. We have conflicting articles. We have one that says the family, the mother and son last night packed up their bags and left. And then we have and in another article it says that no family members were present at the house at the time. And then in yet another article we have the daughter was there whenever the police showed up and issued the search warrant.
Right. I mean, I just don't see him. I think he is. I think he got away with it so long. I really believe, and he could have been a lot longer than what we know about. Um, so,
Brooke, a medical examiner would not just be called to recover a weapon. They have called a medical examiner in because whether they suspect it's blood or human remains, or they have found something on an object that they question being human biological material, is why they would call a medical examiner in. That's what I was trying to get at. There's something they have found that they suspect in some shape, form, or fashion is human biological material or remains. Yes, that is exactly what that means.
I think it's going to be a box of his trinkets and reminders and notes, possibly. I take him as a note taker, like a journal person. I don't know why,
I
but
think I think his journal would be trophies.
I don't
I
see
think
him tipping them off and saying, "Oh, go, you're going to find this in my front yard." I just can't see him doing that.
well, we do know that Asa just got paid $1 million to do a documentary on it,
Right.
right? What if Asa said something during the documentary that got reported? And now, previously unknown to law enforcement and the public, that information has sparked this new search warrant, which would explain why Asa left the house last night with her son, packed bags. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kells, you're right about that. I have long hair. So, my hair's down past the middle of my back. And let me just tell you what, long hair does transfer easily. I have found long hairs in my laundry after doing clothes, or I've had, I'll be itching or something, wearing clothes out of the dryer. You hang them up and then I'll put them on later. And I have started itching, and I've seen a little hair poking out and pulled it, and it been a super long hair woven in my clothing from because I have long hair right out of the dryer. So, yeah, that's very possible.
I think I would need personally, I would need more than just one hair transferred. I would need something more on her to. Do I think she knew? I think she may have turned a blind eye. I mean, that's just my opinion. Whether she was part of it, I don't know. I don't have anything on that. But do I think she knew or suspected? Yes, in my opinion.
Well, well, let me put it for everyone like this. As y'all know, I have a history with Robert Brashers and his family. Okay, Robert Eugene Brashers, the serial killer. I knew him. He looked me dead in the eye and told me he wanted to shut my pretty little mouth up for good one time. And I was supposed to be babysitting and staying the night with Rose and her daughters babysitting, okay, while they went out. But I was going to be staying the night. And needless to say, what he said to me, I believe to the point that I stood up off the he was in the girl's bedroom and he had propped his hand up against the window and he with one arm and he was looking out the blinds with the other one, had it barely pulled down. I didn't know that he had just committed murders in Portugal, Missouri of the shearers. Okay. I did not know that. But he was watching for the cops and he was annoyed because we were quote unquote being loud. We were whispering. And he looked dead at me and he said, I'd like to shut that pretty little mouth of yours up for good. It gave me chills to the point I believed him. Like everything inside me, every bit of my being believed what he told me. That he wanted to kill me was exactly how I perceived what he told me, and he meant it. So I stood up off the bottom bunk, went straight into the kitchen to call my parents to come get me. After everything come out about Robert Brashers, let me tell y'all this much. To the day he died, Rose denied that he was a killer. She wouldn't believe it. But I don't know how she could deny it whenever she was helped hiding him from the cops because of what she thought were other crimes, not murders that he was committing. I mean, they literally went and bought a big rug and helped him get into the house one time. Um, they used, he would call on um he would call her on a payphone to get a hold of her wherever she was. He would send letters under a false name, all kinds of things, because she knew he was running from the cops. She knew he was a career criminal. And I don't understand why, after, he had already shot a woman in Florida and tried murdering her, after she, refused his advances. I don't know how she ever denied what he did. She looked me dead in the eye one time when I was painting her nails and said, my mama told me whenever I married him or whenever I met him, I let the devil in. Her mother knew something was wrong with Robert Brashers. These women know there's something going on, whether or not they know it's homicide or murder, but they always protect their man. They always protect their man. And sadly, like in Robert Brasher's case, whenever these men do commit all these other crimes and these women dismiss them and try helping cover up these other crimes, sadly, later we come to find out that not only were they guilty of being career criminals, but they were ending human lives as well in the long run. And I know there are more bodies out there linked to Robert Eugene Brashers. I know there are. I know there are. But are there more bodies, including possible human remains in Rex Heuermann's backyard? I would like to say I think so. Absolutely. What do you think, Crystal?
I think she knew, maybe not everything, but she had to have known the strange behavior. Um,
The
I
red
don't know.
flags are there.
I mean, when you're how long were they married? Do we know? 20 years or something? Let's just say 20 years. When you're married to somebody for 20 years, you know them. You know what their hang-ups are. You know what sets them off. You can tell when they're angry. You can tell when they're up to something. I mean, it's just when you're with somebody for that long, you learn. And sometimes people choose to ignore it because they don't want to accept it, because then their reality, is gone. But did she do it out of love or did she do it out of convenience? You know what I mean? I I told my husband a long time ago. We've been together 30 years, and I told him, like, if you ever kill somebody, don't tell me, because I will call 911 faster than you can even say, because I couldn't live with that on my conscience. You know what I mean? Like, no, no, this is not, no, nope. I mean, I don't know. I caught my kid smoking pot in high school, and I didn't expel her. I suspended her from school and brought her to the police department that day. Uh, You know what I mean? And like, I'm like, show her the jail cells. Like, she didn't need to be smoking pot when she was at school. You know, I get it. It was a normal thing, but it wasn't okay. And I wasn't going to, as her mom, I wasn't going to allow her to do it and disrupt the whole classroom. So, I mean, I know that's a stretch from murder, but I mean, I think you know people and you know the people that you're close to. We all have signs. And I think she knew. And one, one of the other things I find very disturbing about this whole case was when it first started, they have like 3 different properties, right? Something like that, 3 or 4. And he makes good money. He was really highly respected architect, you know, so he's not stupid, he's very smart. But she was pulling in food stamps. Why is she getting food stamps if they're that well off? Like you know you're doing something dirty with that. Like you can't do that. I mean, that takes away from other people. You know, if they needed them, absolutely, that's what the system is for. But somebody that has that high of an income, is a well respected, owns all these properties, and you're collecting from the government, I have a problem with that. So if she was involved in that and hiding the fact, then why wouldn't she hide the fact that, you know, he's killing people? I don't know.
I'm sorry, I'm listening to you. I'm just trying to see. There was supposed to be a press conference today, and I'm
Right.
still not finding a press conference
They could have
to
pushed
say.
it back too, because they might still be trying to, you know, figure out what they're going to say. Because now that they've started, we all know they're going to come out and say something. They've been pretty vocal in this case about not giving us a lot of detail, but, you know, more than most cases, I think, because they have them dead to rights. But
They do have him dead to rights.
I don't know. Like I said, I would need more to be convinced of her being involved other than one hair. Because it's hair is so transferred so easily. I mean,
Yes,
like
it truly is.
I mean, I see people in Walmart that I haven't seen that, you know, they want to give me a hug and I hug them. And, you know, you sit down on a bench. God only knows what you pick up, you know. So I just think that I need more for me.
I'm still not seeing this press conference, although I know they are supposed to be having one. Crystal, you're absolutely correct. I mean, hair is transferred so easily. There was a man that was almost um, convicted for homicide because there were, and this is graphic trigger warning, pubic hairs on the bottom of his daughter's socks. Well, whenever they did an investigation, the detective himself decided, you know what, I want to test a theory here. So what he did was he checked all of his family socks for pubic hairs on the bottom of them, and you know what he found?
I'm guessing
Pubic
pubic hair.
on all of their socks, including his own.
Hmm.
Because whenever you go to the restroom, you shed hair. We're constantly shedding hair. We're constantly shedding skin cells, things like that. But what it was is whenever, you would go to the restroom or someone would go to the restroom that was an adult that, or, had already grown pubic hair, they would shed pubic hairs. And whenever you walk into the bathroom, well, you're walking directly where the other person stood up, set up, unzipped their pants, whatever, to go to the restroom. And pubic hairs are shed. And there were pubic hairs found on all of their feet. So I don't think that the hair, uh, in my opinion, instantly makes Asa a suspect in the case.
Hmm.
But I do suspect that there were red flags and things that she should have known, that she did know, and maybe non-significant, what she considered non-significant crimes that he may have committed, or she may not have considered it a crime at all. Like I said, they had a swingers relationship, if you will, an open marriage or whatever, and maybe she didn't think it was odd for him to be gone for many hours or this, that, or the other. Hindsight is 2020, but we do know that her DNA and her hair was found on the victims' bodies, which is what led them back to Rex Heuermann. And I can't help but wonder, and I highly suspect they found some kind of human remains, or what they suspected to be human remains, on that property or in that box, or they think they had a weapon tied with human DNA on it, or called the examiner in to say, could this have been the weapon? Could that have been the weapon? You know what I'm saying? If the medical examiner has done a full report on how the other 4 victims have ended up deceased, the cause of death, then they would call the medical examiner in to identify certain things. But mostly, medical examiners are called whenever remains are found to identify whether or not they're human and whether or not, to investigate that death after or if those remains are determined to be human. Yes, Brooke, I think Asa knew as well. I don't know that she knew to the extent of homicide, that he was a serial killer. I don't know if she knew to the extent that he was a murderer, but I completely agree that Asa knew something. She like, whether she knew it, that she knew it or not, Asa knew something in all of this. And if she didn't, I don't think that anything she would have to say would equal up to $1 million documentary. Do you? Yes, you guys don't forget to go over if you haven't yet. I'm going to tell y'all because I just noticed Kel put it up. Thank you, Kel, for dropping the link. Evan Freiberger, you guys, he is the best weather guy on YouTube. The best weatherman on YouTube. You guys go give him a thumbs up in the comments. Tell him I sent you. I trust him for all my weather needs. He covers more active and severe weather and non-severe weather. Other YouTuber that covers weather, and he is my go-to weather guy. And don't forget to go check out his Discord too. All things weather. At Evan Actor Die is the name of the Discord. You guys go check it out. Also follow him on Twitter at Evan42020. So, I'll tell you what, Crystal, how would you feel about opening up the phone lines and taking some opinions? I would like to hear what the public thinks. What do you think?
I think that's a great idea.
Awesome. So let me just get that set up really quick, and then I'll put the phone numbers scrolled at the bottom of the screen for anybody that wants to call in. Just had to make sure I didn't have anyone's private information posted up there, you guys. All righty. And the phone lines are open. We would love for you to call in and tell us what you think. Do you guys think there was a body recovered today, or do you think there were human remains found today? Let us know what you think. The phone number is 870-266-6949, and I look forward to hearing from you. So now, knowing, Crystal, a little bit more about the roles of a medical examiner, and we don't know that it's true or fact yet, but allegedly a neighbor heard digging going on in that yard previously. And there's allegations and rumors of a chest or a box being found on the property. Why do you think the medical examiner's there?
Well, the medical examiner will determine whether it is like a questionable homicide, like you said. So I think they were there to confirm that it is, in fact, something of a source, whatever it may be. Didn't you say that somebody had? There's a picture with bolt cutters on a table.
That was something that was reported earlier. I don't know where that report come from. I haven't seen a report on it yet. Let me check over here. I want to keep all of the updates and stuff. Let me see if we can find. Let's see here. Update that.
Let's get those phone ringing. The phone line's ringing. There we go. I just. And now, do we know how the 4 women were in fact killed? Were they
No,
strangled?
no, we don't have that information as far as I believe. We don't have it because it's an ongoing investigation and they're not releasing that information.
Now, I'm
I
gonna
have a feeling
speculate.
Rex knows how they died.
Right. I see him as a um when that mask slips and he goes from like the average Joe to serial killer mode. Like I almost feel like he would be somebody that would strangle somebody. Like, hands on, just like he would get that power trip. That would get him.
That's a very, very interesting speculation.
Yeah.
Because I'm with you there. He seems to me like that part. But then again, they say, that one girl um that originally led to this investigation, or one of the women that was found at Gilgo Beach, um, she ran. There's
Right.
911 phone calls where she was screaming, "They're gonna kill me! They're gonna kill me!"
Yeah, and they're gonna kill me. That there means more than one.
Absolutely,
If
absolutely.
it,
They
you
well,
would,
no, no. See now there, because there could also mean they are.
but wouldn't you say he he's gonna kill me? He's after me, not they're after you or
See
they after me. I don't know.
that.
I just
Well, no, you have a very valid point there. Um, why wouldn't she say he's going to kill me? He's going to kill me. That's a very valid point. But we don't know if she was saying there, THEIR, or there as in THE''RE. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
it can be speculated upon both ways, but I suspect he wasn't alone. I speculate he wasn't alone. Because again, just like you said, why wouldn't she have said he's going to kill me? And we know that was in the 911 phone call. We've all heard the oh, it's horrible, the 911 phone calls. And
Yeah,
that poor
she
girl.
sounds very scared and very fearful and confused and almost a little drugged. And I don't know if that's how she sounded, but she sounded like she was so confused and didn't know what was going on. And I always wondered, was she given something and then like she caught on and made a run for it, Like she saw her moment, like she felt
Oh,
weird.
okay,
I
here we
don't.
go. Um, I just want to open this up real quick. Kill sent me a new update. A news clip.
Okay.
Um, I'll have to stop. We'll stop sharing. The phone lines are open. If anyone wants to call in, Kill just sent me a link. Uh, is this the one? Let me close these search bars. Yes, I do believe this is it. Okay, here we
We
go.
begin with some breaking
Let me make it big for everyone.
news on Long Island. That's where investigators are back at the home of Gilgo Beach murder suspect Rex Heuermann.
Yeah, he's the Suffolk County man charged with killing 4 women. Jody Goldberg is live outside his home in Massapequa Park. Jody, what are we learning today?
Well, Chris and Bianca, talk about deja vu. We were here back in July, and now months later, we're here as investigators issued another search warrant there inside the home. Now, we're told by Asa Ellerup's attorney, she's in South Carolina with her son. Asa Ellerup's attorney, Bob Macedonia, confirmed this to us this morning. He also told us that their daughter is inside the home. She was in there this morning, and she left around 8 o'clock when investigators got here. Take a live look at what's going on. Quite an extensive setup here. A lot of media presence, a lot of neighbors coming out once again to see what's going on. There's a command center, many agencies, including the Gilgo Task Force and state troopers. And why they're back is still unclear. The district attorney's office
office isn't commenting, citing an ongoing investigation. As you mentioned, Heuermann is charged with the murders of four Gilgo victims, sex workers found buried along a stretch of Ocean Parkway near Gilgo Beach. Heuermann pleaded not guilty. Neighbors we spoke with say they're surprised to see another search.
The first thing that came to mind was my daughter's school, which is right across the street. I ran into the school and asked them what's going on, and they said, no, it's something with the Rex Heuermann house. They're doing another search. I was so paranoid. I was like, oh my God, this is all over again. It feels like yesterday this happened.
I don't know what to think. We're neighbors, and it's just unbelievable in your own backyard.
And now Asa Ellerup's attorney made it clear no arrests have been made and there are no allegations arrests will be made. As for Heuermann, he's due back in court next month. We reached out to his attorney and haven't heard back. That's the latest here in Massapequa Park, Long Island. Jody Goldberg, let's send it back to you.
All right, Jody, thank you for the update.
Wow. All right. So there you have the latest update. The daughter was in the home. She left at 8 a.m. this morning. And last night, mother and son leave the home with bags packed. So what do you guys think? The phone lines are up. We are active right now. Let me just share that screen so I can take the phone calls and hear them. So do you guys think that the mother knew and the son knew that the search warrant was coming today? That could be the only reason I would know for a family to leave a home the day before a search warrant. Was the attorney given privy information that they were going to be searching the house today?
That's what I think. But I still can't figure out why the daughter wouldn't leave also.
She left at 8 a.m. this morning, apparently after they showed up to serve the search warrant.
Right. But I mean,
Why did the daughter not leave? I mean,
that to me is
wow.
weird.
It's very odd.
It is odd. Doesn't really make much sense to me. But
I mean, the attorney's already got a statement prepared before, anything else goes down. Before the search, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just find it highly odd for the mother and son to leave before the search warrants even, pack your bag and go to South Carolina.
right, you would
Before,
avoid you would avoid all the media craziness that's going to happen. I mean, we all know. I mean,
bingo.
it's going to be, why would she stay?
Exactly. Avoiding the media.
I mean, that's what I would do. I wouldn't want any part of the media. I know that they can rip you up. You know what I mean? Take pictures of you, all
Absolutely.
of that.
Right. But would you, I don't think that would, because we've already seen Asa, her pictures all out there everywhere. And I don't know about the son, but I think there are pictures of him out there.
I think
I
there are a
agree. I think
few.
it's Paige, that's exactly the question at hand. They either got a call or they made a call. Did they find something? Did Asa find something in that home that led her to calling law enforcement and saying da 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 da? And then all of a sudden this morning they rush in there with search warrants, and have this big. I mean, look at how extensive and how massive of a group of investigators and forensics they have on site. After an extensive warrant has been, after an extensive search of that house previously, what, like 9 months ago? 9 months ago, they served a search warrant on Rex Heuermann's home, and today they're back at it with an even larger presence, an even larger forensics presence, even more cops. They had the road blocked off both ways this morning to start with. And now they've called in a medical examiner during the search. This is insane. And which is why the title is Breaking News: Rex Heuermann Remains Found in Yard? ? ME called after new search warrant. The medical examiner is at Rex Heuermann's marital home, where his wife and family have been staying. A search warrant is issued and served this morning. We don't know exactly what time it was issued, but we know it was served at 8 o'clock this morning. That the daughter was there at 8 a.m. whenever they served the search warrant. Was she there just to be served the search warrant? Did mom say, stay there until they serve the search warrant and then come on down to Carolina? That's possible.
Yeah, but her lawyer could have stayed there and allowed the search warrant. She didn't have to be present, and neither did the daughter. If they knew it was going to happen, the lawyer could have been like, appeared for his client and let them in.
I mean, this is.
I think it's odd that she stayed around. I do. I don't know why. It just seems like an odd choice, considering the situation. You know what I mean?
Okay, we've got another new report from CNN. So I'm going to share that with you guys real quick and see what it says. Try to keep up on all the latest with this. Because this is not, this is not off
You're
the
doing the
wall
robot thing.
random. Oh, I think it's you. It could be me. I don't know why I would though. Is it stopped yet? Is it still doing it?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay. So we have this new article. This is from CNN. Massapequa Part 2. Investigators return
It's
to
doing it
suspect.
again. It's all robotic again. I'm sorry. I just don't.
Is anyone else hearing me robot in chat? Could you please put a 1 if I'm roboting you guys? And let me know if I'm roboting. 1 if I'm roboting, 2 if I'm not. Anybody? Okay, so I am doing it to y'all. That makes no sense. Makes no sense why I'm roboting.
It's not when you're talking right. Well, right this second it's not, but it was weird because it stops when you.
On the right way.
Maybe is it because you have the phone line open and you're playing this video, or would that affect it? I just don't know. 'Cause you're fine now.
Okay. I did have a phone call coming in. I wonder if that had something to do with it, but it wasn't on the other line. It was on my home phone line. That's odd. That's odd. I don't know. I'm sorry, you guys, if it's rotten. Hopefully it doesn't do it again. Okay. So back to the news article. Robot. It comes in waves. Okay. Yeah, Blondie, it might be when I'm changing tabs. Very, it could be. Good observation. It could be. But I was also getting a phone call. I heard my phone in there and it wasn't on it was on my regular number, not the call-in number. So it could have been that interfering. My phone, maybe. I don't know. Let's get straight back to the article. Thank you guys for letting me know that, by the way. Good to see you, Blondie, by the way. It says Massapequa Park, New York, investigators return to suspected Gilgo Beach serial killer Rex Heuermann's house in Massapequa Park, Long Island, Monday morning. Video from the scene shows a mobile command unit and several state police vehicles outside the home. Chopper 2 spotted officers taking large empty boxes inside the home. The search was launched while the house was empty, according to the attorney. For Rex Heuermann's wife, Essa Ellerup. Ellerup and her son are out of state and their daughter is out of town, the attorney said. Okay, so this is yet another conflicting article about who was in the home. Their return comes after authorities spread out across Manorville and beyond in April as part of an evidence search. Heuermann has been behind bars for 10 months since his July 2023 arrest. The remains of 11 people were found near Gilgo Beach between 1996 and 2011. Heuermann has been charged in the killings of 4 women. Prosecutors say Heuermann killed sex workers Melissa Barthélemy, Megan Waterman, Amber Costello, and Maureen Bernard Barnes. Their bodies were found in burlap near Chicago Beach 13 years ago. Court documents suggest Heuermann had hundreds of smart devices that he used to allegedly contact and research sex workers. The initial probe for evidence also turned up scores of weapons, 200, over 200 we now know. Massapequa Park neighbors want to know what police are searching for as sidewalks and streets filled with the curious. Many expressed anxiously. Many expressed anxiety. This is the kind of distraction for the whole neighborhood. Seeing this over and over again. This is the second time. When do we put this to rest? When is this going to end? Neighbor Ricky Tavella said. Did they find something in another house? This is the worst. This is worse than the first time. Like I said, there's many more police presence, but this is worse than the first time. Neighbor Louise Cole said, there's more police presence. I can't believe what's going on here right now. I just saw the helicopter, knew it was Rex's house once again, so don't know what it is, what they found, or what they're trying to find, neighbor Thomas Pfeiffer said. The same task force that searched the woodlands in Manorville returned to Heuermann's home Monday, carrying out bags of evidence. We have been a great partner for them all along. They executed their warrant this morning. Whatever the warrant calls for, they are going in and retrieving whatever's needed and turning it back over to the courts, Nassau County Police Commissioner Patricia Ryder said. If they are going in to do a search warrant, they have a great part of their investigation that they are still working on. That's a fact. Suffolk County DA Ray Tierney said at this recent media briefing that the work of the Gilgo Beach Homicide Task Force is continuing. Heuermann has pleaded not guilty to the murders. He's due back in court June the 18th. Okay, and there's a video right here we're going to watch real quick as soon as the commercials are over. We'll go back to the beginning of it and play it again because I think I might have accidentally missed part of it. And we're waiting for the commercial to be over. And it's another commercial. Let me refresh the page if that will eliminate. There we go. All right. Come on.
Denver. It's where hanging out.
Oh, it's commercial. Give it just a second, you guys. They've got to bombard us. They've got to bombard us with ads. They have to. They got to make their money. Okay. Here we go. Undo it. Oops, I got
Serial killer Rex Heuermann has been charged with the
that
murder.
over for you guys real quick. And why does it keep muting every time?
Massapequa Park home of the alleged Gilgo. Let's begin this noon with breaking
There we
news.
go.
Police searching the Massapequa Park home of the alleged Gilgo Beach serial killer. Rex Heuermann has been charged with the murder and the killing of 4 women found buried along the remote beach parkway. Chopper 2 high above the action, capturing officers taking large empty boxes inside the home this morning. CBS 2's Jennifer McLogan is live with details. Jen?
Chris, good afternoon. A large police presence swarmed suspected serial killer Rex Heuermann's home. The red one behind me. Also here, police command scene vehicles from both state police and the counties. And once again, Massapequa Park neighbors are gathering, gawking, and expressing concern.
Interested and would like to know more.
Investigators executing a search warrant moved onto the property of the accused serial killer, front and backyards, and entered the Heuermann home. The search was launched while the house was empty, according to the attorney for Rex Heuermann's wife, Asa Ellerup. She and her son are out of state. Their daughter is out of town. He says no new arrests are anticipated for any family member of suspect Heuermann. This new search comes 10 months after the initial probe for evidence, which included 280 weapons. Heuermann's held without bail, having pled not guilty to the murder of 4 women, sex workers, whose bodies were found wrapped in burlap near Gilgo Beach 13 years ago.
Did they find something in another house? I have no idea why they would. Well, this is worse than the first time. There's more police presence. I can't believe what's going on here right now.
I just saw the helicopter. I knew it was Rex's house once again. So don't know what it is, what they found, or what they're trying to find.
It was at a recent media briefing by DA Ray Tierney when he addressed us all and said the work of the Gilgo Beach Homicide Task Force continues. There were 10 sets of remains found along Ocean Parkway, believed to be the work of one or more serial killers. We're live this noon. Massapequa Park, Jennifer McLogan, CBS 2 Noon. Chris, back to you.
Okay, Jen, thank you.
Are you muted? I think you're muted if you're talking.
Yes, I am muted. Thank you for letting me know. I don't know if I gave a shout out to Blondie, but hey, girl, it's good to see you again. We've had 2 Blondies in here today, so. This is Blondie, you guys. She's a wonderful, lovely, lovely mod for Evan Freiberger. She's my favorite of Evan Freiberger's mods, so shout out to her and shout out to Evan Freiberger. He is the go-to, I'm telling you guys, for all things weather. All things weather. He covers more severe weather than anyone else. He covers more weather than anyone else. So go give him a check out. Look him up. It's Evan Freiberger. And you should be able to find him on YouTube pretty easily. Just type in Evan Freiberger and
Blondie,
join in on the weather conversation.
Blondie should call in. She always has good insight. Cal, if you're still here, I really want to know what other people have to say about it. You know, like there's so much,
so much,
and I just feel like there's just going to be so many more that are going to be linked to him if they're found.
The phone number is 1-870-266-6949. We look forward to hearing. We look very forward to hearing from you. Do you guys, what do you guys think? Did they find some kind of remains? Is that why they're searching Rex Heuermann's property now? Was a tip called in? What do you guys suspect? I suspect they found something associated with a victim, or they found human remains or biological from human remains. That's why they called the medical examiner in. I mean, this is something. It's not nothing. It's not nothing. But was that called in for? There it is. There's Evan Freiberger's link, you guys. And don't forget to follow him at Twitter or Evan for 2020. Evan for 2020. Yes, this is a refresher for sure. I mean, how often does law enforcement go in and do an extensive search like they did 9 months ago? You guys, they extensively searched that property. They dug up the backyard. They went through the house piece by piece. I mean, they were in there for a while. We all know they were in there for a while, and that was 9 months ago. They've went and done an extensive search on this property. And then last night, mom and or his wife and his son leave the house. They pack up and go to the Carolinas. Okay, as per the attorney, released that statement earlier. And allegedly, the daughter was there at 8 o'clock this morning when the search warrant got served. But they show up again this morning and serve a massive. I mean, the biggest search warrant the biggest search that's been conducted on his property is going on right now.
I don't know if anybody
Yes, Blondie, me
remembers
too.
the woman that is still missing and they've never found her body, that they thought that he had something to do with. And I saw that in a press conference by I don't know if it was his PR person or a lawyer, but he was encouraging people to call in and give statements and that he would protect. And he did it with the city commissioner standing next to him. So, and he talked, I can't remember her name though. I wish I could. I began with a K, I believe. I don't know what it was. She was brought there by a man and his girlfriend for one of the swinger nights. They picked her up at a party and she went with them. And when they left, she was still there, but then she was never seen again. So they believe that he's behind that woman. So I don't know, but I wish I could remember her name. I'd look it up if I could, but if I move, then I'm
Right,
gonna
it'll kick
drop
you off
out.
the thing. Right.
But I
No, I
believe
get
her
you.
name was Kay, like a Karen maybe, or something like that.
Kill, that would absolutely make sense. There were more remains found recently, and that might, like I said earlier, that might be why they called the medical examiner in. There are rumors that there has been some kind of box or chest or safe found at the property. Um, like I said, it was two girls. Kill said two girls. Oh my goodness. And if the medical examiner has determined the cause of death, they might be in there looking for or trying to retrieve what the murder weapon was. That is very possible. They found a vault.
A vault of
Oh my
his
goodness.
prizes, his
Oh my
trophies.
goodness. Okay. All right, Kills. I'm at my DM right now. Holy smokes. Kill's fixing to send me a tweet about it. And that's
Is
on
Paige
Twitter?
is Paige still in here? If she is, Paige, will you see if you can find that name of that missing girl that was connected? That they haven't found her body.
Ooh. I'm not seeing it yet, Kills. In my DMs? Yes, Patty, that's what we're speculating on right now. Yes. Okay, Kill. You guys, if y'all wouldn't mind everybody putting hearts in the chat for our lovely mods who do so much and work so hard to make everything come together for the show. They are amazing, amazing women. Um, your Sam, your your Sama Jr. said Julia Ann Bean. Is that the name that you're thinking of, Crystal?
No, I don't think so. I think it began with K. And and if I'm correctly, rem- maybe maybe
Paige
it
is
was her.
saying, Paige is saying Julia Ann Bean too.
Hmm.
Oh, look at those
Can one
hearts.
of them call and let us know what they found? Oh, Karen was found. Okay. So I was right. Hold on.
Okay, or Sam, you are Sam A. Jr. Julia Ann Bean, I hope I'm saying that right, and I apologize if I'm not. And thank you for joining us. Thank you so much, you guys, for joining us. And Terry Workman, thank you for being here. It's a pleasure to have you guys. Also, if you guys wouldn't mind liking and subscribing to the channel, I would greatly appreciate it. It's not required, but it is much appreciated. And thank you in advance if you do, and I appreciate it. Um, yes, she was a victim. Oh my goodness. Are y'all listen to this? Her family saw Rex, said he came into the nail salon to have his mother's nails done, and spoke to Julia Ann. Yes, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about now. I know. Is your name Ursa Majir? I'm sorry. I hope I'm not mispronouncing it.
I don't remember the story of Julianne. I mean, I know what you just read, but
It's the woman. Yes, there was video. I believe there was also video of him in the office. Oh, Ursa Major. Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. I love that. That's awesome.
you know what, Regina?
What, Crystal? Sorry.
I don't hear those phone lines ringing. Somebody call in.
You guys, the phone lines are open at 870-266-6949. Call in. We want to hear your opinion. Um, what do you think? Why do you guys think they're back at the house searching? Do you think it's related to the missing girl and the two bodies that have been, or the two victims that have been recovered? Do you think that Rex Heuermann is talking, or is his wife talking? And why? Okay. Ursa Major said it is not confirmed officially that Rex is linked to Julie Ann, but her family says they recognize him. Julia Ann Bean, 37, was last seen alive on May 31st. Investigators have been poring over the information they have recently received to determine if there is any evidence linking Bean with Heuermann.
Now, wouldn't they search that property if they do find something of like big stuff here at this one? Wouldn't they go back and search his property down there the same way, like excavate and stuff? And isn't that where she and the son went?
Well, as far as have come to understand, they have searched multiple properties belonging to Rex Heuermann in connection or looking for evidence in connection with these homicides. Patty
I don't.
said, I think he is squealing like a pig. That is. Oh, let me reread that again. I think Rex is squealing like the pig he is. You know what? I concur. I honestly think that someone is talking. I think someone is talking. And even though Rex Heuermann is not looking at the death penalty, because this is in the state of New York, he may be trying to talk for a plea deal to drop some of the charges or lessen his sentence.
What's the point, though? I mean, if he gets 6 years, he ain't gonna be around in 6 years. You know what I mean? What are they gonna then? Obviously, I just don't know what kind of deal he could make that would the families would agree on.
Well, the families don't have to agree on it. Well, I mean, the prosecutor can make deals without the families, but if Rex Heuermann has more victims and the families are taking, are willing to go to the prosecuting attorney and say, or the DA, which is the prosecuting attorney, and say, look, we want to know where our daughter is. Can we give Rex some kind of a deal just so we can bring her home? You know what I mean? It's been done before. It's been done many times.
Yeah.
Ursa said word on the street is that there is digging being done on that property line at Heuermann's house. Unconfirmed officially, but this is from a neighbor friend in that direct area. I believe that. I believe that because when you look at those tents, they have the open air tent and they have the tent that is closed off. And there was a police officer holding the scaling light. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? The picture I showed earlier with the officer holding the lamp, the scaling lamp. Which tells me that they have the inside of that tent lit up. And I don't know how long they're going to be searching under that blocked out tent, but that's what the light is for, which leads me to believe, yes, with the medical examiner being called in at this time, I highly, highly believe they had found some kind of human remains on that property. That's what I believe. Ursa said there is also an operations van parked outside of Heuermann's last office in Manhattan. Oh my goodness. Source for that is me. I live nearby and took pictures. Ursa, would you be willing to call into the show and tell us, since you did and since you are on location, would you be willing to call into the show and just give us an idea of what you've seen and what's going on there? We would greatly appreciate it if you could. It's not required, but it would be very much appreciated. The phone number is 870-266-6949. And again, we would greatly appreciate it. I know it was two girls' remains that may be a possible link. I'll find it. Thank you, Kel Kel. Kel Kel, the medical examiner, a lot of medical examiners are forensic anthropologists. I don't know the name of the specific medical examiner that has been called in, but typically, a medical examiner is a forensic anthropologist. Oh, I understand, Ursa. I understand. I respect that. Oh my goodness. Ursa said, sorry to drop in so quick and leave a bunch of info. This case is so close to home for me. I also went to the same school as Karen Vegeta. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
That was the woman's name, Karen I'm
Vergetta.
sorry.
Vergata or Vergetta. I may be pronouncing it wrong, and I'm sorry if any of the family is listening and I'm pronouncing it wrong.
Yeah, that was the one that I thought. I didn't know they found her body. So
Aw, thank you, Walt. His name's Walt. We call him Lat because it's spelled Lat. But yes, I understand if you're nervous talking in public, and I respect that. But if you do decide to call in, it's just a conversation between me and you. Um, it's it. I try to treat everyone, and I try to represent everyone in a good light because I know I would want to be treated kindly and represented in a good light. Um, if I were to call in and give info, but just the fact that you were willing to come in and bring that info, um, we appreciate that. We appreciate that so much.
what? You call in. You have so many good thoughts. You're very intelligent.
Oh, I
That's
would
what you
love to get a
think.
phone call from Walt. I would love to get a phone call from Walt. For anyone just joining us, breaking news, breaking news. Law enforcement served the search warrant on Rex Heuermann's home this morning. Last night, his wife and his son left the property. They're in the Carolinas right now, as per a statement from the attorney. We do know that the medical examiner has been called on scene, and the police presence is bigger than the first time 9 months ago whenever they searched Rex Heuermann's home. Yes, Slow 12, exactly. We appreciate the info. I do not know what college Rex Heuermann went to. Does anyone else know what college Rex Heuermann went to?
I do not. I know he went to school with one of the what's his name? There's a bunch of them. Stephen Baldwin. He went to school with Stephen Baldwin because when he was arrested, not Stephen, William Baldwin, he made a post about how he went to school with him and he knew him. That's all I know.
Let me just take a look at this real quick and see if there are any updates. Not seeing anything. Let me see if this one has anything updated in it real quick. Um, see here. Mm, I'll go ahead and share this real quick with you guys because there is a little information here. But first, I'm going to go through these comments that are already up. Ursa Major, I'm so glad you found us. It's good to have you here. Welcome, welcome. And we have some other people I'm just going to give a shout out to. We have Gibby, welcome. I read your comment. I meant to give you a shout out. I apologize for not giving you a shout out. Welcome. Let's see here. Ursa said, I'm wondering if the family was tipped off since the wife and son left the house last night. Daughter was at the house this morning before the search. Yes. Yes. I'm wondering the same things. Okay. Kills, is this the link that you were talking about sending to me? Oh my goodness. Okay, I have a post Kills sent me from Twitter real quick. I'm going to show first, and then I'm going to do a recap of what's going on. You guys, this is what Lisk posted. Whatever the day brings, please remember Karen Vergata, Peaches, a toddler, Valerie Mack, Jessica Taylor, Asian Doe, Maureen Bernard Barnes, Melissa Barthélemy, Megan Waterman, Amber Lynn Costello, and Shannon Gilbert. Oh, that is. And I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is a full list of suspected victims of his, yes? These are the women that were found on the beach, yes?
Well, Karen Virago, I don't know where she was found. I thought she was still missing. So, I know Waterman. She was found on the beach because I think it was those four that were found on the beach.
Right.
And
Sorry, real quick. I'm gonna go over this real quick. Crystal, go and finish what you were gonna say, and then we'll go into it.
no, you're all set. You can go ahead.
Okay. Investigators and state police have swarmed the Massapequa Park home of alleged Gilgo Beach serial killer Rex Heuermann with a new search warrant. Police arrived early Monday morning to the home where Heuermann's estranged wife, Asa Ellerup, and her two children, Victoria Heuermann, 26, and Christopher Sheridan, 33, live. Asa Ellerup's attorney, Robert A. Macedino, told News Nation Now that no family members were home at the time police arrived. Let's see. It is not clear at this time what elicited Monday's search of the Long Island property or what officials were looking for. But multiple law enforcement agencies were present, including a command center. The Suffolk County District Attorney's Office declined to comment other than to say work of the Gilgo Beach Homicide Task Force is continuing their investigation. And then there's pictures. And this is an older picture from earlier in the day when they first showed up, because you guys, it is a huge police presence now. Huge. Let me see if I can get this. Oh, it's a different one. Hold on a second. Yeah, that's not going to play. Again, updating for everyone coming in. Thank you all for being here, you guys. If you wouldn't mind hitting that like and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. Let me see if I can get back up here to my comments. Maybe the daughter searched the house while the family was away and found something. That's a very, very good, educated guess. That's very, very, very good speculation. Very good speculation. Yep, that might be. That might be. Well, hello, Willow. Hello, Willow Marlowe. Thank you for being here. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you. I'm glad to have all of you. Thank you. Paige, her family owned a gardening business and were well known in that area. So sad it took so long for her to be found. Her father looking for so long but passed away before she was identified. Oh, that's heartbreaking. That is absolutely heartbreaking. And you know what? I blame police for that. Because the reason this case, and I'm just going to let everyone know, if you don't know the backstory on this, the reason this case went cold and wasn't investigated for so long, and this is a pity and this is a shame. And personally, I think there should be charges brought against law enforcement for this. But the reason this case went cold of the Gilgo Beach homicides was because law enforcement themselves were having relations with the sex workers during the time of their disappearances and stuff. So, because it was linked back to the chief of, I believe it was the chief of police or the sergeant, I don't remember which, but because they were implicated, because they were having illegal relations with these women, paying for relations, They didn't investigate this case like they should have. They denied justice because of the implications on them because of them breaking the law. What were you going to say, Crystal?
I was just gonna say, I don't know if I'm correct in this. I believe it's true that he actually, where he lives, he's lived there his entire life. Like his parents grew up, he grew up in that house. Now, that means there could be a lot going back along. I mean, this really could be what they found today, could answer a lot of people's questions. It could, find or give answers to some of these missing people.
Yes. And Paige, thank you so much. Again, our lovely mods always coming in, showing up and showing out, giving that information, our true crime gurus. Paige said New York Institute of Technology is where he attended college. So there's the answer to that question. Thank you, Paige. Well, that said, what could they find after 37 years realistically? Teeth? Okay. I actually considered being a mortician at one time and have some training in this field. I will tell you this about human remains, about any remains that are buried. Burying remains slows decomposition. Burying remains slows decomposition. So there could be bones, there could possibly be skin that has more or less dried out and become more like leather. I don't know that they would find any tissues other than skin and bones and things like that, but they might.
Hair.
It depends on how deep they're buried, what the temperature, the average temperature of the soil is, and what biological components there are, such as mold and things like that, to break down the tissues. Other than and aside from postmortem decomposition that occurs naturally. Go ahead, Crystal.
No, I'm just saying that hair wouldn't deteriorate either. It could still be there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hair could be there. Gibby said, thank you guys for covering this. I'm in the same boat as Ursa. I'm from the area, and this case means a lot to me.
Well, I feel like the victims deserve justice. They deserved, their families deserve justice and finding out and finding the answers that they need to be able to. I don't think heal is a word. I don't think you
Okay,
can.
Paige. Sorry.
I don't think you can heal from something like that. I think you learn to cope with the loss of a loved one, especially when that loved one isn't always held in high regard in society's terms. They're like the forgotten people and they matter just as much, in my opinion. So I'm glad we're going over this case too.
Absolutely. They do matter. And it's sad that, yes, while it does create a high risk situation for you to become a victim of foul play, it doesn't make you any less human, no matter how you're earning your means of life. It doesn't make you any less of a person. It doesn't make you any less of a human being. And every human being deserves justice. Their families deserve justice, and they deserve to know as well. I agree with you, Crystal, 100%. The phone lines are open, you guys, at 870-266-6949. I look forward to your calls. Gibby, Paige, if you guys want to call in, that would be amazing. Gibby said, thank you, Paige, for looking that up. So, New York IT is a school closer to New York City. He would have had to drive across, though, most of Nassau County, LI in the 1980s. A lot of cases from that era, sadly. Yes.
And that's what I'm saying. I wonder if they've started looking into
Okay.
some of those cases. Sorry, I'll stop.
Oh, no, go ahead. I was just saying okay to Crystal. She sent me this. She sent me 2 things, so we're going to look into both of them. And let me stop sharing for just a moment. Okay. So let me share this real quick. Present, share screen. This is from Lisa Ribikoff. Let me see if I can zoom in and make it bigger for you guys. If it'll let me. Nope, it's not going to let me zoom in. It's being ridiculous. Close this one. Close this one. Close this one. Sorry, I have a ton of boxes open. Okay. It says updates from Rex's house. Officers and investigators are leaving for the day, but there's still plenty more still inside and outside the house. Laura Single, I will be there tonight till 10 p.m. Rex Heuermann, Gilgo Beach. We have to remember he is an architect. We don't know what's under the floors, in the walls, behind the vault. Anywhere could have been a hiding spot. Still activity of things coming in and out of the house went from small white boxes to large moving boxes. Oh my goodness. Are they fixing to tear this house? Are they removing everything from the house because they're fixing to tear it down? Looking for possible remains? Are they packing everything up? Wow.
If they start to do that and they start pulling like floorboards up and I mean,
wow.
There's no telling. There is no telling what they will come across. Because I do agree, he is an architect or was. So
Yes. Yes.
he'd have the
Absolutely.
ability to build some thing, and I mean, he's obviously highly intelligent. You know, that's not.
I mean, the Institute for Technology is not a joke.
Now, if I was his wife, son, and daughter, if they start digging up little trinkets and trophies and body parts, there's no way I would ever set foot on that property again.
Again, right.
Ever.
Ursa said, I blame police too. These women weren't worth much to them. They mattered. Absolutely, Ursa. Absolutely. And they deserve justice. They deserve justice and families deserve justice. And the fact that law enforcement denied these women justice for so long strictly because they could have been implicated in the case because they were doing criminal activities with these ladies does not mean that these women are any less of people. I mean, that really tells you something, doesn't it? They don't want to investigate these women because they're high risk uh high risk cases, but they're willing to require the services of these ladies. That really tells you something about a hypocritical double standard, doesn't it? Yes. Me too, Paige. I suspect he has very many more victims. Gibby said they need to look at him for Tina Foglia, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, and the Lynbrook 3 from the 1980s. I am going to have to look up on those cases myself. Ursa said, Gibby, yes. Bones for DNA, yes, yes, low 12. And after 37 years, while that is correct, that there would be a less likelihood of having very much to work with. Teeth, like, oh, you guys, phone call. Just a moment. Oh, it's Paige. Paige, give me 1 second. Let me hold on just a second. Let me patch you through to where everyone can hear you. Alrighty. Alrighty, lovely Paige. What you got for us?
All right, can y'all hear me?
We can hear you. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I wanted to read this for Crystal. It's it says Long Island murder victim Jane Doe number 7 identified as Karen Vergata. I think that's how you say it. So if I'm wrong, forgive me. 27 years after she went missing. So it says law enforcement authorities said Friday they have identified a woman whose remains were found as far back as 1996 in different spots along the Long Island coast, some of them near the Gilgo Beach location of bodies investigators believe were left by a serial killer. The woman whom investigators had called Jane Doe number 7 in Fire Island Jane Doe was a 34-year-old Karen Vergata, Suffolk County District Attorney Raymond said Friday. And it says Vergata disappeared around February 14th, 1996, and had been living in Manhattan. Her partial remains were first discovered in 1996 on Fire Island. More of her bones were later found near Gilgo Beach in 2011. Let's see. It says that there was no, there was no actual missing persons report. It says, adding that no missing persons report was filed at the time that she vanished.
Wow.
But her dad, I can't find where I read it. Her dad had hired like a PI. I did read it in this. I just can't find it now. And he had like tried to tell them she was missing and they just didn't take him seriously. So that's why she was Jane Doe for so long. So Crystal, they did find her body, well, parts. They found more parts spread out, but she wasn't identified until this is from 2023.
Wow.
So she was murdered in 1996. They found, I think it was, oh gosh, her legs, and didn't know, like, you know, who they belonged to. And then there was no missing persons report for her name. So then they finally did like a DNA match in 2023. So they identified her. So you had it flipped. They found her body, but they didn't know who she was.
Well, the thing about it too is didn't they what was I gonna say? So that shows that because when they arrested him, they said he went back 10 years for his crimes, which would only put him back to like 2010, 11. So this shows that he went back to 1996. So there's a lot of space between that time. There's a lot. And you know, they don't stop. They don't stop unless they're in jail or they're dead, usually. Allegedly, from what I understand. You know, so where are all the other victims? How
Can you
many
hear?
other Jane Does are there out there?
Right.
I
Can
can't
you?
hear.
She said a bunch of stuff. But what she also said was how many more victims are out there.
Oh my gosh. Well, like somebody said in chat, I can't remember your name, sorry, at Gibby. I mean, there's tons. He owned that property in South Carolina, and that's where the other lady, forgive me, I can't remember her name. I got her in Julia Ann, or that's where she went missing from. So from New York down all the way down through South Carolina, God only knows.
God only
Right.
knows how many victims are out there. I mean,
And 1996 goes back 26 years, not
And
10.
it's Crystal talking. I don't want to overtalk her.
Crystal just said, and considering these cases go back to 1996. I mean,
Right. When DNA, like, I mean, who knows? Who knows? DNA wasn't really a thing.
Maybe he started this behavior when he was younger, in his teens.
Crystal just made a very interesting statement, and I agree with that. She said, maybe he started maybe he started doing this whenever he was in his teens. And the fact is we don't know, but that is a very alarming thought. We do know that serial killers don't stop except for maybe during cases of marriage and birth of their children. Which is a shown correlation in most serial killers. So I can't help but wonder, was the only time this man wasn't ending lives whenever he was, you know, having family stuff go on, children and things like that, as with other serial killers.
Right. And there's no way that he didn't murder for, I mean, what, 13, 14 years? I just, usually they'll take a year or two off or maybe even 5, but that long, no, especially after killing that many women. I don't believe it.
I don't believe it for 1 second either that he stopped killing. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that likely, whenever his wife was pregnant, if that at all interfered with their relations, considering that him and his wife had a swingers lifestyle, that he was probably ramping up, and there, would be more victims during that time frame. What do you think, Paige? What do you think, Crystal?
Oh yeah.
I just think that this is going to go back a lot further. There's going to be a lot of victims, and I'm hoping that these families get justice. Again, I think that it's it's disgraceful how we disregard others, and we focus on some. It's I don't know,
It's
these
disgusting.
these
It's
women.
disgusting.
I feel bad for their families, for them. They didn't deserve that. He didn't have the right.
No one has the right to take another human's life unless they are protecting life.
Well, and the other thing too,
Agreed.
the Karen girl, that was the night. If you go back and you watch that video of that guy coming forward saying he received a statement from a woman, and she was with her boyfriend, and they went to a swinger party at the Heuermanns, and they picked up Karen, who she thought was Karen. Hold on a minute.
Crystal, yeah, hold on just a second right there. Gibby said, am I allowed to put a link in chat? YouTube only lets moderators and stuff put links in chat, but I have an email. If you would send me the link in email, I will gladly check it out. Let me get my email up there for you. Paige, would you like to transfer over to the panel so that Crystal can hear you?
I might be able to for a minute. You'll have to send me the thing. I'll figure it out.
Okay, I'll send it to you in your DMs real quick.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, you know what? I'll post it right here. I'll just go ahead and post it in chat. I will post it in chat. That way you can just click on it there. Okay.
Now you got to give me a minute to figure it out.
I got you, sister. I got you.
All right. I'll hop on in a second.
There we go. All right. I'll see you in there. Love you so much, Paige.
All right.
Thank you for calling.
Love you. Bye. Uh-huh.
One of our awesome mods, gonna join us on panel. I just put the link in there for you, Paige. Crystal, I'm gonna let you take over. Are you still there, Crystal?
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm gonna let you take over for about 2 more minutes. I have something I have to take care of real quick, or else there's gonna be a flood in the house.
No problem. So yeah, as I was saying, I find it crazy that this woman came forward and thought that it was Karen, that her and her boyfriend picked up at a bar, brought them, they all three of them went to the Humerman home, and then the couple, after they did their thing, left, and they left Karen there, and she was never seen again. And that statement came out. I wish I could quote it. It was on a news station for the local news. So it might have been Fox 5, or it could have been, what's the other one, Cal? ABC? I don't know. It's disturbing to me that it's just, I don't know. What are we missing? What element of the moral compass, what DNA marker are we all, or, what do we have that these others don't? They're lacking. Because, I mean, I just feel like he was doing this at a very young age. Supposedly, he lived there his entire life. So they might find things back to when he was a teenager. I don't know. I'm curious to find out what's in this vault. There's just so many things. It could be body parts, or, well, I won't go into detail. Regina don't like it when I do that, but you guys get the gist. I still think that journals could be there.
Yes,
Lots of
I'm
things.
back.
Okay.
Well, here's something for me. I don't know about the journals. That is a possibility if he's someone that kept journals. Um, but the thing that I would assume anyone, if that was his childhood home, like you say, if that was his childhood home, I want to know how many of the neighbors had pets go missing. I want to
Exactly.
know. I want to know how many times Rex was caught peeking in someone's window. I want to know what kind of home life he had as a child, that, like, what kind of, was there abuse?
Now, I believe, if I'm correct, and I could have this mixed up and swapped again, but I believe one of the children were not his. There was only, I think the daughter was his, and the son is from a previous relationship. So if she did know what was going on, and maybe she was just like, he was bringing in all the money, whatever, comfort level, whatever, maybe she was trying to protect the kids. But I mean, I think that leaving would have been a better option, in my opinion, but not everyone thinks like that.
Right. Blondie, I completely agree with you. Blondie said he's known, but knowing he's an architect, that makes me side eye everything. And you know what, Blondie, that's a very good point you bring up, because I would like to elaborate that on just a little bit, elaborate on that just a little bit more. Um, Considering he was an architect means that he has likely been on building sites. And by building sites, I mean construction sites where there were active construction going on, which also leads me to wonder, are there bodies in concrete, in walls, etc., of projects that he was a part of? Do you guys think that's a possibility? I want to know what you guys think. Do you guys think that's a possibility? Crystal, what
I
do you
think
think?
I think the possibilities are endless. I think that, again, this is his comfort. This is where he grew up, where he lived, where he felt comfortable. And I mean, at the bottom line is he hid himself for many years. He got by with doing these things.
Can you guys hear me?
I can.
We sure can.
Hello. Hi,
Sorry, my
babes.
voice is cutting out. I've been sick, everybody, so ignore my voice.
You sound fine.
You
Okay, it
sound
took me a
perfectly
minute,
fine.
but I got it. So,
What you got to say?
where did
What
we
you
leave
think?
off? What were you just saying?
We were just talking about the fact that he was an architect,
Oh.
working on projects. Obviously, um, whenever architect works on projects, they typically work hand in hand with contractors that are building the buildings or whatever they're working on. And we were just discussing the fact that or speculating that there could be bodies in these projects in the concrete or something somewhere.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. I mean, that's one of the now, I don't know how much he would actually been on these sites, but yeah, I mean, that's definitely a possibility.
Now, I have a question. Does he have any siblings, Rex?
I'm
I thought maybe he had a brother, but I can't.
scared to exit out to look because I don't
Yeah,
want to get
that's my
kicked out.
problem. Once you get in here, you can't move around because you will knock yourself out. Um, but I wonder about like weird family tie-ups. Like, does anybody know anything about the family? His family growing up? You know, that would be interesting to know.
I did look it up just a second ago, actually, and somebody that he went to elementary school with, they were saying that he was super smart. He was quiet, and he mainly was just kind of a introvert, I guess.
Huh.
So I don't think he was too weird like throughout school or anything.
Wow, that just blows my mind though. How do you go from an introvert to someone that is a regular for sex workers, and then having, for a lack of better terms, what's it called?
Being a
Group
homicidal maniac.
group group relations,
Oh yeah.
group sexual relations. I mean, that's a big leap right there, in my opinion.
Well, if you think about it, think of how many of these serial killers and how many, and maybe not even serial killers, but look at like the mass majority of them have some type of sexual fantasy or most of it ties in sexually in some type of way.
Absolutely. It
Well,
all ties in. I think it's all relevant. I don't think that
I
there's anything we can dismiss as a possibility considering there are this many victims so far, right? I agree with
right.
that.
I think
Yeah.
he was so hung up on his own needs and sexual hang-ups for whatever they are. And he used these women to
For
um
his own gratification and sick, twisted desires.
absolutely everything you just said. They were
Yep.
disposable to him. Disposable. That's another thing. I would wonder back in the day if did he have weird reactions with other girls? Was he ever like jaded? You know, where did this hate for women come from? Because obviously, when you kill people, whether it's women or men, you know, where did this come from? Like, I mean,
I'm telling you, it's some type of weird, like, sexual thing. Like, if you think back to, we all know Dahmer, right?
yeah,
He says that he didn't hate any of his victims. Like,
right,
he murdered them
Because he wanted
because,
them to stay.
yes, he wanted them to stay. But it was he had crazy sexual fantasies. Like that first
right,
poor boy that he killed here in Ohio was that was one of his fantasies, to pick up a hitchhiker that was a boy who was shirtless. I mean, it all ties back to like
Oh my goodness.
nasty.
You guys, Low, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Low 12 gifted 5 Regina and Friends Crime Chat memberships. And I would just like to say welcome to all the new members to the Crime Chatters team. I will make a community post for all of you gifted members so that you can come to the Discord and get into the crime chat uh, topics with all of us and discuss true crime. And we watch movies on the Discord and stuff. It is for members only, or associated guests that are associated with the channel, partnerships and stuff like that. Um, but I will post on the community page as soon as the live's over, you guys, so that you can get in the Discord and continue the true crime topic with us. Thank you, Low 12. Thank you.
Low is the
Um,
best.
Low is the best. And also, Low 12, congratulations on winning True Crime Trivia Sunday. You guys, she bombed everybody out. She rocked it. She rocked it. She was doing the pew pews.
I'm coming for her next week. I'm on to you, Lo.
Y'all are lucky I had that phone call.
Listen, Linda.
Oh, Crystal, don't you dare do that again. You know who that reminds me of. Oh,
We were waiting for
no.
you to come back. And I was like ready to go. And then Lo comes out of nowhere and steals my damn crown. Let me tell you. She
Well,
was just like
hello,
on it.
Michelle. Hello, Michelle Johnson. It's good to see you again. It's good to
So
see all of you guys. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for joining us. It's amazing. You
what
guys
does
make my heart up.
I wanted to ask people in the chat, do you guys think that he has more victims around,
I do.
anywhere,
I do.
not just one
Absolutely.
place?
Absolutely. I think that there are undiscovered dumping grounds, to be honest. Gibby said something very interesting I want to read to you guys. He said, Ursa Major, I agree, Ursa. Long Island was his true persona, and New York City was his big time architect persona. I think he separated the two and kept Long Island as his territory, if that makes sense.
It
Oh,
does.
it does. It does. That was his home ground advantage, I guess. If like he could.
But with that said, though, we also have to take into account that he also worked on casino projects for architecture jobs.
Hmm. Like in Vegas.
Yes, and he had a home in Las Vegas at one time as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, so we're talking about all over the USA.
Well, Ursa said, I believe it was Ursa said it earlier. Forgive me if I'm identifying the wrong person that said it, but said that they believe that these crimes could be um oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Where it's outside of the country.
International.
International. Yes, these crimes could be international. And we do know that he had bank accounts that were offshores, and he has been out of the country several times.
And this is why I have a problem with them collecting from the government aid. Talk about abusing the system. That's an abuse of the system. I'm sorry. Just, I
Well,
have to put that in there. That bothers me. It always has.
well, I don't doubt for a second that he was abusing the system. I mean, look what he was willing to do to human beings. No scruples whatsoever. None. No moral compass, no scruples. I mean, and the weird thing is a lot of times, and this is with a lot of serial killers and people of this nature, they will have a family life in which the people that are part of that family life or that association, um there are the red flag markers and stuff that are there that are never identified until years later. Just like with Robert Brashers, y'all know he died in 1990 by a self-inflicted gunshot wound, and we just found out in 2018 that he was a serial killer. But I guess I kind of always knew it in my heart from what he said to me, but the proof wasn't there. Does that make sense?
Yep.
But all the red flags were there. All of the red flags were there. Gibby said, or Kelkel said he wanted to buy as much property as he could, probably to hide things, allegedly. Kelkel, I don't doubt that for a second. Gibby said he definitely picked people up in New York City, but I think everything goes back to Long Island. It's very possible. We do know that he has a lot of his crimes linked to Long Island now. And Low 12 said, oh, we have a members only Discord. The link is on the community page. We look forward to seeing you there. Yes, Lolo, you're so amazing. Thank you. And thank you for the gifted memberships. That is so kind of you.
So, was there actually, like, has it been confirmed? I saw someone mentioned about, I don't know if it was Ursa or who it was mentioned about like a vault.
That was on the. I thought I showed you guys that. I thought I read that on the community page actually.
I can't remember. I read it somewhere, but I didn't know if they actually like said anything. I mean, I'm sure Ellie won't come out probably at all about this, but you never know.
You never do know. I think that there's a lot more information to come out. I do speculate that a lot of this will be kept close to the vest because this is an ongoing investigation. Um, it's amazing that he is already charged with 4 homicides, and there's already been a search warrant on his house 9 months ago. And now today, after searching the other area, they are doing an even more extensive search on the home. And I can't help but speculate that quite possibly, um, that they are removing everything out of the home and fixing to tear into the walls. I mean, the big moving boxes, the big truck, that's, you guys, that's a lot.
I
That's
have
a
a
lot.
question. Do we know if the bodies that were located um in Long Island were they dressed or were they not dressed? Were they buried in their clothing?
I don't know that that information has been released at this time.
Okay.
I don't know that that information has been released at this time. Welcome to the Crime Chatter's 13th hour. It's good to see you again, by the way.
Okay. I'm trying to join the chat, but
Click on the comments.
I downloaded the app and I'm trying to figure it out.
Oh, you're braver than me. I don't dare. I don't dare do that because I will knock myself out. I tried once before and it went not well. Let's just say.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
All
it's
right,
not.
Paige. I'm going to give you a second to try to figure that out. And if it's okay, real quick, I would like to play this newest report from News Nation and give everybody a refresher on what's going on here.
Yep, go right ahead.
Okay. Crystal, are you going to say roll that beautiful footage? You know, every time you say that, by the way, I think about that commercial, roll that beautiful bean footage. Okay.
Roll
Sorry.
that beautiful footage there, Regina.
There we go.
We are following some breaking news out of Long Island, New York this morning. Right now, police are searching the home of Rex Heuermann. He's the suspect accused in the Gilgo Beach murders. He has been charged with the murders of 4 women. News Nation's Laura Engel is on the way to the home, and she joins us now on the phone with the very latest. Hey there, Laura. What are you hearing about what led to this morning?
Hi, Marnie. Well, it did certainly come as a surprise to many people following this case, but that's the nature of a search warrant. It's a kind of a surprise. We have learned that the Suffolk County Police, State Police, Nassau County, all involved staging a massive command center outside of the home of Rex Heuermann and his estranged wife, Asa Ellerup. Police arriving around 7 o'clock in the morning. I spoke to the attorney for Asa Ellerup, and he confirmed that the search warrant is being served, but he couldn't say what was in it because he doesn't have it. He also told me that Asa Ellerup and her son are out of the state and that the daughter was not there. Whether or not they were given a heads up, that's something that I'm trying to confirm right now, but none of them were there. In fact, we've learned that Asa Ellerup and her son are down in South Carolina. And you'll remember that Rex Heuermann's brother lives in Chester, South Carolina, Craig Heuermann, and that is where they found the Chevy Avalanche that was so important in this case. That is where that Chevy Avalanche was being held. It was a vehicle that was believed to be used in the commission of the crimes. But, that's where she has family, and that's just as simple as that. But what's happening at the house right now is extraordinary because of the amount of police presence. And this also follows, Marnie, what happened last month, a massive multi-day search in Manorville. That's on Long Island. And police were seen searching in the woods for several days. I think it was up to 10 days. And they were even seen digging around.
Okay, I'm sorry. You guys, is there a reason he put like the biggest front door I've ever seen on a home? Wow. Look at that front door. It's huge. That
Yeah.
is a huge front door.
Well,
And
he's a big man.
I was going to say, I don't mean to be rude by saying this, but he is very large. He's very tall and, just a big man. I couldn't believe it. I didn't realize it until I saw him standing in the courtroom, and everyone is so much shorter than him.
Yes, Ursa, that house, oh my gosh.
Well, my husband's tall, and I bet he weighs, I mean, he's over. I mean, my husband, he's super tall. Honey, how tall are you? 6 foot what? Yeah, he's got his earphones in, and I'm sitting here talking to a wall, basically. But my husband, he's over 6 foot tall, and he's a big man. He weighs over 200 pounds because, I mean, he'd look like a toothpick if he didn't. And he's all muscled. He used to play tight end in football. But he's a big man. But we have a regular front door. He's over. I mean, I don't know. That door's just huge. Sorry, I noticed that. It's probably nothing, but. Sorry, I just couldn't help it. I was like, wow, look at that front door. It's huge,
It is weird.
It's weird. Okay.
And there was word that they found something, that there was a black box that was found and is it something that is connected to that search in Manorville that has now brought police investigators, members of the task force, to come to Massapequa Park, shut down this street, just like they did last July. Going through for 10 days searching for the home, or 2 weeks, I should say, in Massapequa Park. So right now it's unclear exactly what they are after, but this is certainly a very
Look at those faces. Four beautiful young women that he is already charged in the death of.
It's terrible.
And yes, it is. And what's even more terrible is that these women had delayed justice because of corruption in law enforcement. That's the worst. Like, Rex Heuermann is a monster, but the law enforcement that prolonged this case being a cold case due to their own discrepancies, that right there in itself should be a red flag to all of us.
Well, I agree. I think that society as a whole disregards these women because of a profession that I'm sure they didn't strive to get. You know what I mean? It's circumstantial reasons that they end up where they did. But I find that so vile. I think it's so vile. They were human beings, and they matter as much as, I don't know, who can Micah Miller. She's the most current person that the news is on. I look at these women and they're just as beautiful. I'm sure they have good hearts and they're just as kind and they have people that love them. And as a society, we're like, oh, yeah, they're throwaway. No, they're not. They're not throwaway.
The only
I
people
blame society.
The only people that should be thrown away are people that commit these horrendous crimes and cover them up, in my opinion.
Yep.
I mean, those people should be thrown away because then they end up being a burden on the taxpayers for how many years?
Right.
I mean, first they end lives, and then the burden of paying for that person to eat and have three square meals a day, a gym, healthcare, and all of their basic needs met, and them to be taken care of. Whenever there's veterans out here on the streets living the most horrible lives possible that served our country and stuff, that aren't getting the attention they need. But as long as you're a criminal, we're going to feed you 3 squares a day and take care of your every basic need.
Look, they get tablets in prison now.
Hey, Sammy.
They can watch YouTube. They can watch the news. They can communicate.
Yeah. Oh,
Us on
Sammy
the
said,
what?
Sorry, Crystal.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
She said, do we know how many properties he owned? Ursa or Gibby probably knows. They seem to be very knowledgeable about the case. I want to say like 3, but it's probably more.
Sammy, gorgeous, I sent you the link. It's in your DMs. Right. And you know what? How many properties are in other people's names that are related to him?
Right. Business. I mean, he could have, like, I don't know, maybe he has LLCs we don't know of or some weird, I don't know. I know he's got the one in South Carolina. I know he's got the one, I mean, he at least has 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
That we know of, anyway.
Aren't they investigating missing women in Las Vegas right now to see if they're linked to Rex Heuermann?
They should.
And we know they searched. We know they searched the Carolina home.
Well, I don't know that he actually had. Did he actually finally build a house? Because I remember reading it was a bunch of woods and he had a pond.
Isn't his wife and daughter, I mean, his wife and son there now?
Oh, yeah. So they may have finally, I remember reading something that it was like so many acres. He bought 18 or something. And one of the neighbors was like, yeah, I live by it, but it's a bunch of woods and a pond. So I don't know. Maybe he finally did build a house on it, or they put a cabin or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah. And you know what? This reminds me. Y'all want to know something? I'm starting to speculate that there's an active serial killer in Forest City, Arkansas. I don't know if y'all know about it, the case that I've covered previously, and I don't know why I can't get the video to upload. But I've been working on a video trying to get it uploaded about Alexandria Troy Strope. She was found in a gray Walmart storage bin on the side of a county road. She was last seen riding her bicycle, and sadly, she was a high risk person. And now there are more homicides in Forest City, Arkansas, and I've been getting emails from family members and stuff of her that there are other homicides linked to this, including the man that was found burned alive or burned to death in his car.
Oh my God. How old was she?
She was my age. She was 42.
Just out trying to ride her bike. And then you got to have evil people. I mean, gosh.
I know,
Well,
right, Paige? You can't even do the most simplest
No, you can't
free
ride.
activity, not hurting a soul. Just trying to better herself and enjoy the fresh air.
Right?
It's awful. I mean, you can't do nothing. You can't go anywhere. There's always evil lurking. And we've all probably walked past, who knows, at least one murderer in our life.
Right? 13th hour. I'm so glad to hear that. That's good to hear that your oxygen saturation's good today. That's wonderful. I'll be keeping you in my prayers that it stays that way.
Oh, Kel said
Absolutely.
he owned properties in 5 states at one point, allegedly.
Oh my goodness. Oh my
And
goodness.
had vacation properties. Oh Lord, he's probably.
That's what I'm saying. The number of victims, and if wherever he owned property, I would be going through all those cold cases, Jane Does, missing people, and going from there in all of those surrounding counties. I mean, I know it sounds like a lot of work, but the the victims' families deserve that. And I don't care the cost of what it's going to take to bring these people home.
Hey,
What are we
look,
paying?
you know
Oh, there
what?
she is.
That
There she
actually
is.
could actually be like the more that they find, that can be an indicator of the history and when these people went missing, how far back this might go. Very crazy. And when I was younger, I lived in Massachusetts and used to take my son down that way because that was a beautiful part of Massachusetts and we had rolling hills. And it just is like I was beside myself when I found out he had property there too. And to think that I used to be in those parts, it's crazy.
Hi, Sammy.
13th hour, that was me, Regina, that said hello
Hello.
to you, hun.
Hi, Sammy.
How's it going?
Hello, lovely
I'm
Sammy.
so
It's so
sorry
good to
I'm
hear from
late.
you today. Girl, don't you ever apologize for
Oh
getting some
my.
sleep after working your batooters off all night. We all know what you do all night, woman.
My sinuses are literally kicking my butt right now. Oh,
Me and you both.
this is just nuts though. I hope they don't stop looking.
Amen. Me either, because I think that the more they dig, the more they'll find. And I can't help, like, I don't know why, but I just have this overwhelming feeling they are fixing to remove everything from that house and possibly start ripping walls down.
You think they almost have to.
Yeah.
We know they've already cut into walls before.
Now, I think it's either one of two things for me. Either the wife found something and called but I for some reason I doubt that. Um or they were tipped off about something and you know I'm not sure though. Or he said something. I don't know. I mean, I guess there's three possibilities, but the fact that they left tells me that they knew. I don't That's too much of a coincidence.
That's too much of a coincidence for me too. Gibby, to call into the show, you just call in at 870-266-6949. It'll give you a prompt to say your name and stuff. Just follow the prompts and you'll be able to call in. And I hope you do call in. That would be wonderful. We love hearing from our guests and hearing what you guys think, especially being close to the case. I'm sure that you have insight that we don't. So I hope you do call in and look forward to hearing from you.
Yes, and Kel too. She's got sinus problems also. We're all screwed up.
Yeah, all of us, we sound terrible right now. I sound, or y'all don't sound terrible. I sound terrible. Um, like I said, my son mowed the yard a couple of days ago, and I have a severe allergy to pigweed and what's that other ragweed. Luckily, we don't have a lot of ragweed, but we have pigweed growing in the yard. And every time it's cut, boy, my allergies are crazy for 2 days. And when I touch it and stuff, I get hives everywhere and start, going into anaphylaxis and stuff like that. Real fun allergies. Um,
Oh,
but
Ursa had a good comment. They said, I'm sorry, I'm assuming that you're a female. Um, they said, or something was found in the black box in Manorville that led back to the house, or evidence on the cameras, hard drives, phones that led back to the house. Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, yeah, could be.
let me find that comment so I can pull it up.
It's
Oh
it's
my
at the very
goodness.
bottom.
Oh, I'm way behind in comments, you guys. I'm so sorry. Y'all get me to talking and I can't shut up and I'll get lost. I'm so sorry.
Well, I'd like to hear from, again, like,
There we go.
Gibby. Is it Gibby that's there? Because they have a better idea of the layout, like the distance between, what was it, Fire Beach, or what was that called, Fire Island, and
Yeah, yep.
his home. Like,
Yep.
what is the distance? So if he, what was the time? Was it walking distance? Was it a 10-minute car drive? Is it busy? Is it lighted? All those things I want to know. And the only way to know that is if somebody from that area could call and give us some details. That would be good.
Yes, it would, to know the layout of the land from people that live there. If you are a neighbor or someone near this active scene, this breaking news scene, this scene that has occurred today, and you want to call in, we would greatly appreciate you. The phone number is 870-266-6949, and we look forward to your call. Now, here's something that is bothering me about this case. Was it only a hair found on the duct tape from his wife? What portion of the duct tape was it found on? And was it touch DNA or was it transfer DNA that they found along with this hair from the wife? Because I know there's been speculation and stuff in the past that the wife knew this, that, or the other. But do you really think that she didn't know, or do you think she knew and just turned a blind eye? Or do you think there's a possibility that she was directly involved? What do you guys think?
Oh,
I bet you, I'm gonna tell you right now, when they found a hair, I bet you that it had the hair follicle on it, and that would give them the DNA to trace that hair back. But I bet you she did not know.
wow.
Ursa said, Ursa said, unless he was taking a boat, I don't think he placed anyone on Fire Island. Correct. Fire Island is it's away from the mainland just a little bit. It's different than Gilgo Beach.
Well, that's where they started finding. I'm almost 100% positive when I read that article. It said that they found poor Karen. Her legs, I think, were on Fire Island.
Right,
OMG.
but does that mean he was placing victims in the water? And then
Ugh.
their parts washing up on the island during high tide and stuff like that?
Or he was taking them on a boat. Oh my God. Ugh.
Right?
See, that's why it's awesome that we have people in here that know the area, because I would have never known that.
13th hour, if you would like to come up on panel, I can drop you a link to come up on panel. We love hearing from our community. We absolutely love hearing from our community. Would you like that?
Yeah.
Ursa said you have to take a ferry there or a boat. Yes.
Ugh, that makes it even. Ugh.
13th hour said she knew. Midwest said she knew. Ursa said she knew.
Oh my.
Hmm.
Oh my.
I
So
mean, you
that's
have to
not
Absolutely.
good.
wonder.
I'm posting the link for you right now, 13th hour. Here you go.
Well, we hear so many stories of the family members of these people that do these things usually don't know because they see this person as their loving father or husband, you know.
Yeah.
Oh,
Absolutely, Gibby. If you want to join the panel, you and 13th are both invited up to panel. Absolutely.
Oh, oh yeah, come on up.
Yeah, come on up. We absolutely love hearing from um our chatters and our guests. And we're not the kind of person. Oh, there we go. All
it's not
right.
I
exclusive.
just want you to know that I'm a real person. Hi.
Hi. You don't have
How
to
are
leave that
you?
on if
Hi
you don't want
there.
to, but it's lovely seeing
Okay.
your face.
Yeah,
Hi.
I'm a real person though. So just
Nice to
hi.
see
Hi.
you.
I love
Now,
the
how do I turn
Welcome.
this
beanie.
thing off?
Yes, we are all fans of the beanie. If you'll
Oh,
just click
thank you.
on the if you want to
Oh,
turn
there it
it
is.
off, there you
Got it.
go.
I found it. I found it.
Welcome.
Well, welcome.
Hi. How are you guys
It's so
doing?
nice to
That's
have you.
adorable.
Good. How are
Good.
It
you?
isn't it? Every day is a
Okay.
blessing, and we are blessed to have you here with us.
Thank you guys. Okay, so I'm an Okie. And so what I was answering is yes, they found a hair. Yes, it was hers. They have not they haven't decided, or they haven't released any information on exactly what parts of the hair. They haven't said anything about that yet. And yeah, absolutely, she knew. Yeah, I've been married to the same man. This is the 32nd year. We have
Oh,
adult kids.
congratulations.
Yeah, we have adult kids. We have grandkids. Our oldest grandkid is 15. So we've been doing this a long time. And I'm telling you, There is no way on earth that a man is going to get away with doing. He was a sexual sadist. Okay. He was a sexual sadist.
Absolutely.
There is no way he was doing what he did and burying the parts in the front yard, which we saw them digging up today, because she didn't turn that information over. She said we were not home when they went by. So Asa is not a part of this. But she knew, but she's not a part of today. She wasn't home and the kids weren't home. And the kids are adults too.
Right. Oh yeah, completely
So
grown. Both of their kids are adults.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And
In their 20s
have
and
y'all
30s.
heard? Yeah. Are you aware of his? Is it his uncle or grandfather that was the minister that molested little boys?
Oh my gosh.
No,
Oh
He looks
I
my.
do not.
exactly like him too. He's
This is
exactly like, he
Oh,
looks just like him. Look it up. Somebody Google it. Somebody Google it. I have information, but I'm no good at the,
Oh yeah,
finding
pull that
stuff.
up.
So yeah,
no.
one of y'all
I'm
pull that
looking
up.
it up right now.
Yep,
I
yep.
agree with
Yeah,
you. 13th
that's a
hour.
relative. Yeah. And
Yeah.
they just also made a connection to him and a lady that back in the 90s went missing here in Oklahoma from a laundromat. And they believe that she was one of his.
Oh
So I'm
wow.
telling y'all, he's going to be one of the most prolific of all time. Of all
Do you
time.
know
He's going
what
to have
her
a
name
higher
is?
body count. Hmm?
Do you know what her name is?
I do not. I do not, but you can find it.
I'll have
You can Google it and find the info.
I'll have to Google it. I'm scared to
Yeah.
get out of here because it'll kick me out.
Well,
I have a
hello.
question. I have a question. If for
Hello,
anybody,
Gibby.
Hi,
anybody.
hello. How are you
Hi.
guys?
Hello.
Hello.
Doing every day is a blessing. I can't
Hi.
complain about anything, and shame on me if I do, because the good Lord was good enough to get me out of bed this morning.
Amen.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me.
Just real quick, you guys, one of our very beloved members just showed up, bratty little me. Hey, girl, it's good to see you. I'm glad you made it. She's such a
Hello.
lovely
Hello.
soul. She's such a lovely soul. Okay, sorry, Gibby, back to you. I'm sorry about that.
Oh no, no problem. So what just overheard was the discussion about I believe it's Rex Heuermann's. I think it's his cousin, first time removed, once removed. I think his name is Reverend Kenneth Heuermann.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes.
And he operated a church in New York, and it is claimed that he operated a ring of sorts with underage children.
Oh,
So
I
there's a
have the article. I have it right here.
He looks
Oh my
just like
goodness.
him. It's scary. He looks exactly like him, and he's huge like him too. Huge guy.
Can I share this with everybody real quick? Would you guys? Can we start with
I
the
don't care.
article?
It's
Alright,
public
you're
domain.
This
It's
kind
media.
of leads
Okay,
me
here we
to
go.
wonder, though, did this happen with him having a mentor of sorts?
Right.
Oh
You
my
know,
goodness.
him
Yes, what I'm
developing
thinking.
this way.
Can
That's
I
exactly
ask
what
a
I'm thinking. I think it's a familial thing.
Well, it's been said that his father apparently was very strange. A lot of the neighbors in Massapequa said that his family seemed a little unusual, and I mean, from the house you could tell
Oh
that
yeah,
something
it
was
doesn't
off.
sit right. Yeah, it doesn't sit right.
So, and apparently his father also was, I think, very kind of weird, but also he has relatives that worked in the Nassau County Police Department. I believe that the brother of this reverend was one of the top police captains in the Nassau Police Department at the time. I know, I think his last name is also Heuermann. I forget the first name, but yeah, it's very strange. This whole thing.
Yeah, there's something familial about this. This is just, generational for sure.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
You guys,
Reading
I'm gonna
it.
read this article. Could I please get my
Yeah.
mods to put up trigger warnings, because this is we're all adults.
It's
This is
bad.
an adult channel. You have to be
Yeah, this is
18
bad
years
though.
old to even watch my content. But trigger warning, this is graphic content I'm fixing to read to you.
It's bad.
I'm sorry for those of you that might be offended by this content, but this is
Maybe
the
take a
news
break on
report
this one.
it. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, if you're triggered easily, you might not want to hear this. So
Yeah, you might take a break on
warning.
this one. Yeah.
Oh no, where did it go? I just had it. There it is. Okay. So first
My
of
name
all,
is
there
Jack
is. It's going
Hanny.
to play
I'm
an
the
ad first.
CEO
Hold
at
on.
Patreon.
There's going to be an ad.
CBS 5's Melanie Johnson.
Okay.
American steel is the building block of the future. That's the sentiment from Senator
Wait a
Chuck
minute.
Schumer, who was in Auburn today, pushing for the government to stop
No.
China and other countries from
One second.
funneling
It
steel through
completely-
Mexico into America. CBS Laura Lagarde reports.
Senator Schumer wants to fight off these foreign
That's okay.
Okay, hold
It
on.
happens.
Just let's try that again. Here we go. Okay, it's loading the ad again. Yay, because we get commercials. Come on now. No, it didn't have it. There it goes. Picture gold commercial. Let's get the ad.
There's Melanie
I have a
Johnson.
quick question.
Today,
Have we-
this
have
little
we-
girl is a 65-year-old woman who goes by the name
Let me turn off the camera.
RW. Behind the smile is a child that lost her innocence from people she trusted.
I don't know how I survived it. I don't know how I'm alive.
RW says she was abused and tortured at St. Michael's Lutheran Church in Camillus in the 1960s. The graphic and painful memories are storied in these journals.
I was raped, sodomized. I was tied down.
The first time it happened, she was 8.
There was a rehearsal for the Christmas pageant. My parents just dropped me off, and I was separated and molested by him in the basement. And he told me it was our special secret.
Under the new Child Victims Act, she is seeking justice and suing the Lutheran Church for $45 million. In this 16-page lawsuit, she says that Minister Kenneth Heuermann was the ringleader and threatened to kill her family if she told.
There was no army big enough to protect me from that monster.
They use those positions to manipulate, threaten these children. And, you know, their time is over.
This law is a great opportunity, and that, you know, that it's time to call out these men that hurt me.
The lawsuit names 2 other men in the church as having abused her until she was 15. They have since died. RW tells me she reported the abuse for decades and no one did anything.
I still live with it every day.
Since sharing her story, another victim has come forward claiming they too were sexually abused at St. Michael's. The Evangelical Lutheran Church in America released a statement today saying, in part, the lawsuit alleges the abuse occurred more than 20 years before the formation of the ELCA. The ELCA does not tolerate inappropriate sexual behavior or child abuse, and it is the practice of the ELCA to fully cooperate with the law enforcement agencies investigating such conduct. I spoke with the retired minister, Ken Heuermann, who was named in the lawsuit, and he has decided not to comment.
Oh, what a story. What a story detailed in that lawsuit. Thank you.
Okay. I have a question for you guys after seeing that. After seeing that just now, I'm wondering, what was that, his cousin or his uncle?
That was his cousin.
Okay.
His
Are there victims that he silenced? Are there victims out there for his cousin as well?
We don't know. We don't
you know what I'm getting at here, right?
Oh yeah, it's quite possible. Wow. This could go way back, way back. We're talking about the 60s. So just imagine, just imagine like the succession of men. If you started back in the 60s and he's, if you just look at, I can't see as how they weren't, it wasn't just a familial thing. I think it was just six sexual sadists against women in their family.
Oh,
Yeah,
And
that's why this is so horrific, so scary, because this guy's got a big body count.
Well, you know what? We look at cases like this all the time, and you have to consider the fact that a lot of these guys that are doing these things, majority of them have been exposed to this as a child, and that they were also, perpetrated against before they became this way. That's a big possibility. That's what's going
It
on.
is,
Yeah.
but we have Edmund Kemper, and Edmund Kemper proved something to us. And what Edmund Kemper proved to us is even to this day, when they put him up for parole, he says, no, you got to keep me inside because I will reoffend.
Yep.
And if he can make that open decision, then they can all make that open decision. I'm sorry, I don't buy it.
Miss Lovely Connie, it is so good to
Oh,
see
no.
you. And I just checked my email, love, and I sent you an invite. You've got it. Check your email. It should be getting there any second.
Well, people who are doing this to the children, I mean, that's a recipe for God knows what to come up, and for that to be within the lineage
Amen,
is
Blondie.
really bad. Yeah.
Amen, Blondie. Amen. There's you guys, there is some kind of difference in these kind of people, because I know a lot more people that were hurt and abused as a child that did not inflict pain and torture and this kind of behavior on other people. They
I
use it
was
as a
trafficked.
strength. Yeah, me too, in foster care.
Yeah.
Before I was
Oh,
even
no.
Oh,
potty
no.
trained.
I would never ever say, hey, look, he was probably abused and that's some kind of excuse. No way in the world. Because what I'm saying is this kind of
Yeah.
behavior, especially when you're a child, it molds your brain, your way of thinking. It kind of corrupts
It sets your
everything.
love map. It
Yeah,
sets
on
your love
top
map.
of
Yeah.
whatever else is going on in your head.
Exactly. Yeah, because he's not right. I mean, when you get to sexual sadism, what exactly set his love map there? Someone hurt him sexually, and that is why his love map was set that way. That's why he turned around and did it. Yeah.
I think it's also a testament to just Long Island itself and the atmosphere that can be there, because you have a lot of people like Rex Heuermann that would go to these 9-to-5 jobs from Long Island into New York City, take the train in their nice, business suits, their briefcases, and then you come back to Long Island and you still want to keep, you keep up with the Joneses, the appearances. But in these houses that, it's a very strange thing because Long Island is very dense with its population. And you kind of get to know a lot of people, and you can really see like how different someone is within even a family. So like the Reverend Kenneth Heuermann, his brother, I just looked it up, was Lieutenant George Heuermann in the Nassau County Police Department. And there's a photo of him online standing next to J. Edgar Hoover. So,
of course there is. I mean, wow.
There's just a lot of stuff on Long Island that happens like this, and there's a lot of cases, sadly, that encompass a lot of the aspects of Long Island that is buried beneath the surface, kind of like what happened with this case that Rex Heuermann and the Long Island serial killer. A lot of these poor people and victims were left out by the beach or places that everyone would pass by. The Ocean Bay Parkway, where the Gilgo Beach 4, that's on the way to Jones Beach and Gilgo Beach, which is where the Jones Beach Amphitheater is, where everyone in the summer goes to see concerts and shows. And it's just barren land, sand dunes, just land. You go down Ocean Bay Parkway and it's just a giant highway surrounded by nothing. And
Yeah, I live in Oklahoma in the Red River Basin. I mean, we're landlocked. You know, this is ag state.
yeah,
So, yeah, it's totally different there.
and
Do you
there's
think
just
that opens it up to like the more opportunistic people out there that would be able to,
They're called
be
killing
preying
fields.
on people? Yeah.
They're called
yes,
killing fields. Absolutely, Sammy.
yes.
You guys, real quick, I just wanted to read a comment by Ursa because I think it's spot on, 100%. She said, if Rex Heuermann was abused as a child, I have sympathy for that child he was, though his choices as an adult are indefensible. Nailed it
Exactly.
on
Mhm.
the
Yes,
head.
Yep.
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
My
Nailed
And
it
my
on the
mama
head.
used to say, at some point you got to outgrow your raisin.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You got to outgrow your raisin.
mhm.
And
Well, I had a
that just
therapist.
basic.
I had a therapist one time tell me that I had the kind of childhood and the kind of trauma that leads people to one of two paths. Either you become a motivational speaker or you become a monster yourself.
Yeah, I've been told that myself.
Mhm.
And sadly, a lot of times I don't know what the difference is and I don't know where to find the truth in that, but I know that there are those of us who have gone through horrendous abuse in every sense
Yeah.
of the word that you can be abused.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
just short of death. Just short of death.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I can
What do
imagine.
you guys think is the difference in us? Do you think it's because, like, for me, I'm personally, I believe it had a lot to do with being adopted and finding and having love in my life past that. But whenever I was
Mm,
whenever I was trying to deal with all of the trauma I went through, I always turned the pain and the rage inwards on myself. I blamed myself um, instead of other people. And I always internalized that rage and that anger and that hurt and the blame. And it wasn't until I become a parent myself, a mother myself, about 3 months after I become a mother, that I finally found a reason to not hate myself anymore. That I had the opportunity to become more than what had happened to me. Does that make sense?
definitely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because it's
And
like, yeah, it's very difficult, and each person's trauma story is unique. And but I think the trauma hits every one of us the same way.
Let me tell you, I
Because
experienced so much rage and anger as a young person over the abuses that I
yeah,
suffered that I got to the point where I got to looking at myself and I was like, wait a minute, I have to pull this back a few notches because you get to that place where you cross in the line as far as hurting someone else because of you're loaded with this rage and anger, you're allowing it to take over. I had to put the brakes on it and get help and realize I had choices that I could have made that were either very catastrophic or very positive, and I chose the positive route because I didn't want it to become my anger.
right. I had two out of the triad, and they got concerned because one of them was not bedwetting. We'll say that. If you know what the triad is, one of them wasn't bedwetting, and I was showing two. So yeah, they were concerned, and I wasn't allowed to have pets for a long time. And that's when they realized something was very, 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 very wrong. And somebody asked me, "Are you okay?" And I found the perfect time to say something. But that was how and I was a small child. I was only 8 years old. And so if you can imagine that, an 8-year-old 86ing her pets. Yeah, I was going through some stuff because
right. I would just
I can't even these days, I can't even explain why. I have no idea why I did that, but I got really good help. I had, like I said, I have grown children. I've been married to the same man 32 years. I've got amazing grandkids. I live an amazing life, you know, but I had really good help.
absolutely.
I had really good help.
You guys, Emily said something I would like to just say. She said, I live in New York. It doesn't make you a killer. And she's right. Living somewhere doesn't make you a killer. Being a killer
Oh no,
makes you a killer. I would like
of
to
course
present
not.
some facts. I would like to present some facts to everyone because I know a lot of people say that, oh, New York, it's the worst place, blah, 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 for murders and stuff.
That's not
That's
what I've
actually
heard.
No, it's not
not.
true.
That's not
Uh-uh.
true.
Nope.
The 2024 research shows that St. Louis, Missouri has the highest murder rate in America. Baltimore, Maryland has the second highest rate. Detroit, Michigan has the third. New Orleans,
Detroit,
the fourth. Baton Rouge, the fifth. Daytona, Ohio. Wow, I wouldn't have expected that. Has the seventh. Shreveport, Louisiana, number 8. Look, New York doesn't even. Washington D.C. has a higher rate than New York City.
That's
Irvine,
I'm not.
California has the. Wow, I wouldn't have expected that considering there are so many people.
I'm surprised.
Hey, look, I think no matter where you live, that your population, the amount of people, and the
it's like per
overall
capita.
Yeah, the
mannerisms
density.
could be opportunities for someone like this to commit these crimes, these acts, and be triggered to want to, because your exposure
Well,
has like tenfold from out in the country.
But-
So
Yeah.
it's just opportunities.
Sammy, there are more people in New York City, if I'm not mistaken, than any other city in America, and they're not even the top 10.
Right,
They're not even the
right.
top 10.
No, it's just another recipe for, these these people that are out there that, look, he dressed up. If you dress in nice, you're wearing a tie, who's looking?
He took the
Right?
9 to 5 Long Island train like everyone else, went through Penn Station probably. And I'm sorry, Emily, if that's what it seems like I was trying to say. I would never disrespect my city like that.
Oh no.
But I do think that Long Island, it's very much a bubble, and you do get a lot of spillover from the city. And it's just unfortunately, there are a lot of serial killers or missing persons cases.
I will tell you this though. You are more likely to be killed by a serial killer in New York than any other state. It does have the highest rank.
I thought
for
it was Oregon.
Serial killers. No, it's actually New York
Wow.
City.
Yeah,
I thought it
I
was
have
Oregon.
the result. I have the results pulled up
interesting.
right here.
Because I would have sworn
Right
on my
here.
own grave it was Oregon. That's crazy.
There are a lot of
New
York.
Right here, serial killers state by state, and this is a 2004 report. New York, look, rated the highest. As a matter of fact, Oregon, I don't even see Oregon. Hold on a second.
Texas, Illinois, and Ohio have relatively high numbers as well.
Where is
So
Oregon?
I just look at these. I look at all of this stuff like, okay, lack of population, that leaves more opportunity for people like this to operate where they're not being noticed when it comes to the end of what they've done to someone. That may make it easier for them to dispose of people. I don't know. I'm just saying that's how my head works. I think about this like a lot. Like the I get triggered if I'm around too many people all at once. And that right there, you're going on, and like you were saying, He's taking transit from one place to another. Who knows what's going on there as far as the opportunities? And I think a lot of these killers are very opportunistic. How do you think they get away with it for so long? And so your population can either make them or break them. If nobody's looking, and there's no one there to see, who knows?
And there's a lot of land. There's a lot
Yeah.
of land out there.
I would also just like to say, for the record, Willette Harris, I'm triggered by raisins too. There is nothing that makes me madder than a good oatmeal cookie being absolutely sabotaged with raisins.
Amen. 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 But you know what I do like? I am obsessed with those cotton candy grapes. And if you hadn't had a cotton candy grape, you need to try them.
Spectacular.
They're
They are
insane.
Ooh,
oh
and
my
you know what
gosh.
else? And I'm sorry, we're getting off topic here, but we're going to get off topic for a minute here, you guys. We're talking about serious stuff, and we've talked about some very stuff that has triggered us all. But if you have never taken grapes and washed them, and put them in a Ziploc bag and frozen them, oh my!
I live in
goodness.
Oklahoma. Yeah, we have to do that.
Good.
The summers are too hot. When it's 125 outside, yeah, you're freezing your grapes.
Ugh. I like raisins,
it gets
but I
hot.
detest a grape. And you've ruined a perfectly good oatmeal cookie the minute you let a raisin get involved.
Exactly. That's blasphemy. That's blasphemy. Putting a
Raisins
raisin
don't
in a
belong.
cookie.
I don't think you should put raisins in anything personally. Now I will eat
don't see
them
the point.
by themselves, even though it's not my favorite. I will eat them by themselves. But what's the point in putting a dehydrated grape skin in a cookie?
That's
It's
just
gross.
wrong. It's an evil trick.
Yes,
that's what I think it is. It's an evil
Absolutely.
trick.
Absolutely. Ursa just said something, you guys, that is so true. Yep, and we choose to break the cycle. Exactly.
Amen.
We
We choose to break the cycle. That's right.
Yes. And she said humans are fascinating and terrifying. Absolutely.
Yes, we are.
Absolutely.
Yes, we are.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because it turned me into a terrifying person. It really did.
I would rather face a wild animal than a crazy human being.
Absolutely. I worked for GW Exotic Animal Park, the Tiger King. So
I have pictures. I have pictures, family photos of me laying on a Siberian tiger.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, they're so
not
sweet. They're
They
sweet.
They are so sweet.
They are.
I mean, we literally. This was in
You
Oregon
have to
whenever
be
I went and
careful,
visited
though.
my aunt.
Yep.
We slept
do
in
have to
tents.
be careful.
My aunt put us inside the tiger enclosure with tents to keep us safe while we were camping out that night. Because we wanted to camp out. All us kids, we wanted to pitch the tents and
In a tent,
right?
Because she thought a tent was going to keep you safe.
Oh
no,
my
the
Lord.
tent did keep the tent. The tent wasn't what kept us safe. She put us in the tiger enclosure. The tiger had been raised as a pet its whole life. It behaved like a house cat. The worst injury I ever got from either of those big cats was the tiger licking the skin with its tongue being so rough.
Oh yeah, no. Tiger is always a tiger. Always a tiger.
Had a
Tiger's always a tiger.
That's
Tiger's
right.
always a tiger. Always
I had
a tiger.
landlord.
And that came from somebody that worked with them.
I had a landlord that had a mountain lion, and I was a meat cutter.
No.
And he had an enclosure for him, and he came to my work and had me cut up some kind of liver for this animal. But he told me you have to put on at least 3 pairs of gloves, and I said, "What? Why?"
Yes, ma'am.
He said, "Because we do not want your scent on that meat." Because he will associate you with his dinner. And I was like, oh, hell no.
Yeah. And they're the sneaky ones. See, we have them in Oklahoma. They sneak up on you and just like open their mouth and put over your head and then bite down. You don't even hear them coming. Yeah. They'll sneak up on you. And they come
This
in
mountain
town too.
this mountain lion lived next door to me, and I didn't want to take any chances.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. Oh, I don't blame you at all. Yeah, but working at
What a
TW was
beautiful
quite the
creature.
experience.
But I
Oh,
do
they
believe,
are.
I think our chances of survival against nature's creatures, as opposed to a serial killer, are high. Our chances of survival are better with these creatures than with those serial
Yeah.
killers, because
Well,
they've already made up their mind.
I'm glad you brought that up, Sammy, because let me tell you something, and this
It's
is
an
going to blow
interesting thought.
everyone's mind. No, this is really going to blow. I did the research on this the other day, and I can't remember if I posted it
No
in
way.
our chat group. But did you know that during the average person's lifetime, you will come across or meet or have correspondence with at least 28 murderers during your lifetime?
That doesn't surprise me, not even the slightest. I'm
I wouldn't
48
be
years old.
surprised if
That does
that
not
number's
surprise
higher.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if it's higher. I actually, my oldest daughter is 31, and back in middle school, she had a friend that was drugged and sexually assaulted a young man, and the predator that did it was still doing it to him when he woke up, and he took a kitchen knife and severed his head from his body. The predator. He severed the predator's head from his body as a
I'm
middle school.
sorry. I'm so
Yes, middle
sorry,
school
you
kid.
guys. Let me. I gave you the wrong number. I gave you the old one. It's been updated. You will walk past 36 murderers in your lifetime.
Ooh, yep.
It's crazy. Yeah, and you could never know. Never know.
And I think that's the thing with Heuermann too, is if this case, let's say they're saying that it started in 1996, I believe. He was already in his 30s, near 40 at that point. I don't think this type of person, started out doing something like that so old. And it's scary to think. Like,
Yeah, he's going to be very prolific. He's going to have a big body count, and it's going to shock everybody because he wasn't even on the radar.
Wasn't
Right.
even on the radar. And you know what? That brings me back to it again. And I'm sorry for being a broken record here, but the reason he was not on the radar was because law enforcement had relationships, illegal relationships with victims.
Yep.
Yeah, Burke had the whole Burke. It was Burke and all the rest of them had the entire Suffolk County just at their leisure, and they did not want the FBI coming to Long Island because they just didn't want them snooping around anything. Whatever they were doing, they were doing something, and they didn't want the FBI around, and that's why this case stayed unsolved for over a decade, maybe more.
That is insane. That's insane.
And they had the evidence. They had the testimony that of Heuermann's car. They knew what brand, what model, what just type of car I think it was. The green truck. And it just got buried because they didn't want anyone around. And I think that's why also just it is kind of indicative of what I was trying to say, more so with just Long Island in general, that there is somewhat of a culture, that there can be a culture where people think that, like, oh, I'm better than you. Like, that there is a battle between wealth and status. I think that is, it is a symptom of the world, but I think it can be represented very clearly in Long Island, with the way the police department was run, the district attorney for Suffolk County. And that's why it's just all these people. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Gibby, isn't that amazing that we base people's worth and their morals and things off of how much money they have and their accumulated wealth rather than their deeds and their behaviors?
Well, that's how
That's
Long Island was
pitiful.
built. I mean, Levittown is a town on Long Island, and it was built as a segregated town. And just the layout of the geographic aspects of
We
Long
have
Island.
sundown towns here in the Midwest, but they're
Have
few
y'all
and
ever?
far between.
It's funny that you said sundown town because you should go look up the movie. It's based off of a true story. The Town That Dreaded Sundown.
Oh yeah,
That was
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm aware of that one too. My mama lived in that town for a little while.
well, I'm from Arkansas, and that's the state that
Yeah,
all happened in. Yeah.
My mom was a raceback. She was a raceback. So
I'm
Yeah, and
curious now, is it fair to say you could look at someone when they've discovered this person has been killing, right?
mm-hmm.
And on average, you kind of get a guesstimate here because you know they're not going to be entirely honest with you on when they started their killings and then the number of people they're
I wouldn't.
finding, and then look at it as an overall average for that period of time, and them now realizing there's probably more. Could this be an indicator as to how far back this could go? I'm just curious
Yes,
based
Yeah.
on all
yes,
of that.
absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
100%.
Yeah, I agree. And I
Yes,
think it's Long Island. You have a lot of families and a lot of people that have lived there their entire lives. I mean, that's very common. But
don't they have a lot of like mafia
it's
families?
funny. It's funny you brought that up. There are people that I don't. I mean, I can't really attest to that. Besides
Okay.
the fact that there definitely are people that are kind of connected.
Yeah.
But that's more so, I think, maybe New Jersey,
That
or
makes sense.
Connecticut. But I
Okay.
did.
Okay.
One time I went out to a diner, with my family, and there were two men sitting across from us in kind of polo shirts, like literally looked like almost Tony Soprano. Like it was insane. And they're talking about just like their construction jobs or something. And it's
Yeah. Right.
like you're like thinking to yourself, like, are these guys, in the mob? And it's like you don't
Yeah.
really know, you don't want to assume
And you
anything.
sure can't ask.
You definitely can ask. And I think it's just also with Long Island that it's also kind of people know everyone, and it's like families know families that have been there. From my high school, I knew people that their parents went to that high school in like the 1970s, in the 1980s, and Rex Heuermann, grew up in Long Island. His family obviously had ties to Long Island through the police department and all that. And it's been documented that he worked at the state park, the Jones Beach State Park, as a seasonal worker in the summer of the 1980s, out
Oh
by
my
those
gosh.
highways, by where the bodies were found.
Oh
And
my gosh. He was just hiding bodies everywhere. I mean, just the fact that today they're out there at his house again, 10 months later, and they've got the medical examiner out there. So that means they're picking up body parts. The family's not there. So that means he talked or they got a tip because it didn't come from his wife and it didn't come from his kids. They weren't home. So they went in and did all this while they weren't home. But so they weren't the ones that turned that tip over. So I think he's talking, and I think we're going to get, and I think he's proud of his number, and I think we're going to get the number out of it. I think he's going to be one of those that just wants to tell you everything. That's why they're not talking, because he's telling everything. He's singing like a birdie.
That's a possibility.
Because all this time, all these years, you think that he's been doing it all these years and hiding it all these years just not to get famous from it?
Well, they
Of
can only go
course
for
he
so
is.
long they can only go for so long without having that, and forgive me for saying this, but they got a thrill out of that. There's some part of them that yearned for that feeling once they started doing it. And the only way to get even close to having that again is for him to relive it. For him to be telling it will cause him to relive it. So that's a
Yeah,
great
like BTK.
possibility. Yeah.
Like BTK. Yeah, and that's how he got caught. And that's how Heuermann got caught. But they had been watching Heuermann. They've been watching Heuermann. They knew it was him. It's, you know, like you said earlier, you know, they dropped the ball so many times, you know, and all the places
Well, they
that
didn't just
he's
drop.
worked.
But the thing is, with Heuermann, they didn't just drop the ball. They literally put the case in a corner because it implicated them
Right.
because they were having relations with
That's
the
sick.
women that were victims. I mean, we can say,
The
you know, they dropped the
ladies of the
ball on
night.
it, but they didn't drop
Yeah.
the ball. They hid the
They
ball.
Yep.
They didn't air the ball up. I got you. They never even aired the ball up. Wow.
And
That's
apparently they arrested
sickening.
him early. They were still waiting to arrest him, that they didn't have all their eggs in a row. That they they believed, I believe at the time when they arrested him, of I think it was July last year or something like that,
Me
that
too, Kill. Sorry, I
that
was
he
just
was going to do
responding.
something again. That his wife and his family was planning to go away, and they thought he was going to start up again, so they had to go arrest him because they
Yeah.
felt that they had a
Yeah.
responsibility.
Yeah,
I think
because
he was doing it.
wasn't she going back to Iceland or something for a while?
Yeah, she was going overseas. So, and it's
I
also
don't.
when you think about it, like if 2011, let's say, I believe the last time that, let's say, the last victim was found in 2011. What was he doing since 2011? If they think, oh, he was going to start up again, does that mean he really just went? I mean, it's very possible that he didn't do anything, but it's also very
I don't
possible
know.
that he did do
It's
something.
possible that he did.
Yes,
I
It's
have
exactly.
to disagree. I have to disagree with that a little bit because serial killers don't quit; they escalate. And if you look at the if you look at BTK, he wasn't stopping his homicides. He was just finding other areas because he had already burned some areas. You see what I'm saying? I don't think
And
it's
then,
so much
yeah.
as he
And then
quit
you have
killing.
Kemper. And then you
Yep,
have
and
Kemper who has complete control.
Exactly. And sadly, I
So,
think that's what's going to happen in the Rex Heuermann case. I think Rex Heuermann is because he's you guys they have so much dirt on him. He's going to go down for this. It's just to what
I
degree.
think he has complete control. I think he has, like Kemper, he's highly intelligent and has complete control.
And you
I
know
think he
something else?
does.
I think Brian Koberger would have been a prolific serial killer as well. Had that little bit of DNA left on that knife sheet led him.
He messed up. He messed up so bad.
Yep.
And you can't do that these days. You just can't. You can't be a serial killer now. Unless you go really old school, and you're going to have to live off grid and not leave any kind of trail of DNA, no carbon footprint, no paper footprint, no digital footprint from the time you're born.
Right,
And
but
he had over 400 electronic devices that they're going through right now. Over 400.
Yeah, see what I mean? 400.
These homicides. These homicides, though, took place in the early 90s before DNA testing had advanced enough to identify, you know, the hair from his wife, yada, yada, yada. But at the end of the day, cell phone data is what got him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was pizza.
Yeah, the pizza crust from the box he threw out.
Yeah, it was DNA.
Towers.
Yeah, it was DNA ultimately that really got him. It really got him was the DNA.
That's why I think they need to necessarily go back more to the past than the present. I do think it's very possible that he just kept going. But I think they have to look at when he was younger. because he didn't just up and
Yes.
start doing this randomly in
No, he
1996.
didn't. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Not like this. This
And that's
guy
why
was sadistic.
he was, and that's why, like, I brought up, I think, in the chat earlier, that there's actually a lot of cases from the 1980s in Long Island. There's the Lynbrook 3, there's Tina Foglia, then there's, I believe, the serial murders of Nassau County, which is another separate different case, which I
Yes.
believe 4 different serial killers. And this is
I
all within the
suspect
span
that
of
too.
1980 to like 1986.
Yeah. Yeah. You're
So
right. You're right. And
it's
I don't know. And you know, I hate to bring something that is fictitious into this, but you know, something very interesting has been brought up in the fictitious world in the show Criminal Minds Evolution. What happened to serial killers during the lockdown? What were they doing?
I'll tell you what
Right
they were doing. They were
afterward.
waiting till late at night.
They were
putting on their
planning.
mask and their gloves. Yep, they were planning.
They were planning because we were all locked down too. They were planning. They were planning. Some of them it's working for, some of them it's not. You know, it's the ones that didn't pay close enough attention to exactly how they're catching serial killers these days.
Right on. You guys, we've been live for over 3.5 hours now.
Wow.
My stomach is growling like I haven't eaten
Oh,
all
is
day. I torture
sucking on your
myself.
backbone.
Yeah,
It's sucking on your backbone.
My
Yeah.
stomach's sucking on my back. Exactly. So before we go, I would just like to get final thoughts from each and every one of you. I'll start off with you, Crystal. You and Sammy have been kind of quiet the last little bit. So Crystal, final thoughts from you, love?
I'm curious to find out what they found or what they're digging up. I agree. I think he has been doing this for a long time. And I think we're probably going to be shocked when we find out the number. And share a smile, save a life. And everyone have a good night.
God bless you, Crystal. Thank you for joining us. I love you, sister.
Love you. Bye.
I'll see y'all on
Nice to
Discord
meet
after
you.
I make me a sandwich or something.
Thank you so much for having me on the panel. I appreciate it. It's
I
very
appreciate
insightful
you
what you guys are
guys.
saying.
I appreciate you guys willing to come up and be a part of the community and speak on these things, especially such serious topics. And I
Yeah,
appreciate
it's a
that you speak on
blast.
it with dignity and with tact as well. I appreciate you guys. So,
Thank you.
Sammy, what are your final thoughts?
More power
I
to
just
the.
think that you guys are awesome. Oh, wait, did you? Oh,
You're fine.
I thought she said 13. I'm sorry. My bad.
No, you're fine.
No,
You're fine. It's all good. Hey, I
They call me a
appreciate y'all
rotten
coming
mouth.
up here. I always enjoy having everyone involved in the conversation, and I really appreciate y'all coming up. And I just say more power to the authorities. I want to see them to keep looking because I believe there's so much more. And I'm just going to be watching.
Aw. Yes, absolutely. And Sammy, we love you. I'm so glad you made it. I was missing you earlier. I miss your voice when I don't hear from you. For y'all
Thank
that
you. I
don't
love
know,
y'all.
I'm just going to be honest with you. The group of women that we have, look, they're my besties. And Sammy is I can't tell y'all. I confide in her about everything. She's my bestie, bestie.
That's awesome.
Her and Crystal, I love them. They are some of the most unique women you will ever meet, and some of the most self-convicted women you will ever meet. And they speak from a place of truth and love. So, I love you.
That's
Thank you
always
so much.
refreshing.
Thank you so much. I love you too. I'm going to drop down.
All right, sister. I will see you in chat after I get me some grubs.
Hey, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. It was really nice to meet everyone.
It's a pleasure to meet you too, 13th. And like I said, I'm glad that there are people that have had experiences and people that are maybe not directly in these cases, but are close to these cases. And people who have information stuff that are willing to share it, because I believe that we as a community, whenever we come together for the right reasons, we have the ability and the power to impact other people's lives and maybe even save other people's lives. So I
Absolutely.
appreciate
Absolutely. And I'm not about that drama. That drama has got to go. It's got to
Oh
go.
yeah. Oh yeah, all the
It's
YouTube
got to go.
drama and all the drama and the hate and all the
No, no, no.
blaming each other
No, no,
and
no.
yeah.
That
Well,
gets nothing. That gets
you
nothing
won't
done.
you won't find that kind of drama here. We talk true crime, not drama. I mean, the true
That's
crime
awesome.
is drama enough. True crime is drama enough.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
So,
it is. Okay, well, I'm going to drop off of here. Thank you so much for honoring me up here. It was so much fun. Had a great
we're
time.
honored to have you. We're honored to have you.
Well, now I'm a member. I'll be back.
Yay! Yep, you're ours.
Yay!
We're gonna lick you on the face. You're owned.
Yes, face. I'm a window licker. Y'all got to be careful.
Uh-oh.
I will lick the windows. Yep,
Well,
lick them
you
clean.
window licker.
I'm a window licker. Bless my heart. All right,
Bless
you
your
guys have a
heart.
great time.
Yes. God
Good
bless
night,
you.
y'all.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Gibby, thank you so much for being here. Was there any last thoughts that you'd like to add real quick?
Yeah, I'll just keep it quick. Thank you so much for having me on this panel with you guys. Really, what everyone said was, I think, very insightful. And just, I guess, my heart goes out to all the people that have been affected by not even just this case, by kind of the evil that some of the status and wealth in our society brings out. And
Yes.
I think at the end of the day, we just need to make sure that we all want to love each other instead of looking for reasons to divide with each other. And
Well said.
I'll end it with, he hath given trouble in his house will inherit the wind.
Amen.
So I will leave it with that. Thank you very much for having me on here. And hopefully this case will be solved. So thank you.
Thank you. It's been a blessing having you.
Thank you.
Good night,
Thank you.
Gibby.
Have a good night.
You too. All right, you guys. I would just like to say, as always, thank you to our most wonderful, lovely mods for all of your hard work and all of you do. We appreciate you. We love you. You guys, I'm blessed every day to be surrounded with such a wonderful, loving, compassionate, and insightful group of people. It's rare that you find friendships that you can nurture, let alone to find friends that are honest and true. And I'm surrounded by them. And I'm so grateful to God for you guys. You guys are a blessing in my life, all of you. Thank you to our wonderful panelists who joined us today that are new to the crew. We're glad to have you. Um, you guys, it is so easy to hold on to anger and hate, and love is free and costs. I mean, it is so hard to harbor hate in your heart. It costs so much, and love and kindness are free. Um, why not give someone a free gift that doesn't cost you a thing? Share a smile and save a life, like Crystal always says. You never know, the life you save might even be your own. If you see something, say something. Because let me tell you something about people. What you see someone do to another person, they will do to you. Often we like to think of ourselves as special and loved by someone when we see them doing their evil deeds. But the truth is, no one is special to someone that doesn't have love in their heart. And they will do the same thing to us that they do to other people. Lock your doors and windows and stay safe. Blessings for you all, and prayers as always go out. And with that said, you guys, blessings and good night.